It is Burgundy and Gold Game Day Live. We're going to carry you right into the post-game show as well. Toby Altizer with Doc Walker. Tell you what, Doc, this game's been a shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Up and down the field, up and down the field. And, you know, I was talking with Danny. I was in for Grant yesterday. We're praying for Grant. He's sick with the flu. So hopefully Washington can pull this off and he won't have missed the biggest game because he can go to Philly or wherever next week.
Paulson will never miss the action. I can't believe it no more. We'll hold on for GP.
Exactly right. We'll hold on for GP. But I was talking with Danny yesterday, and one of the reasons that I felt confident that this team could go into Detroit and get the win today, Doc, was that if the offense needed to just score almost every time they touch the football, they've shown me multiple times this season that they can darn near do that. You think back to that Cincinnati game where, you know, Jaden, you call him a puppy.
Yeah.
That dude was still early on in his career. He'd only really had, I'd say out of the first 4 halves of football, the first 2 weeks, he'd only had a good half once. I'd say that second half against the Giants in week 2, he kind of started to get a rhythm. And then week 3 against Cincinnati, they scored every time they touched the football. It's kind of hard to lose when you do that. They've done a little bit of that today. Couple of, you know, they had the 1 punt. They got stopped on the 4th and 1. Right now they're in a 3rd down situation with the lead by 3. And looks like they're going to maybe have to go for it on 4th down, potentially. We'll see. Maybe De'Ami Brown was still up. But this offense has been impressive, Doc.
And he hadn't had to do it alone. The key is, like you mentioned, De'Ami Brown. The, quote, others, as Charles Barkley has popularized, they've all stood up. They've earned their checks and we're gone beyond. You need help. And how about the O-line? How about the fact that the O-line has been stable? Cosme got hurt. I almost threw up in my mouth, and I didn't know who it was. And I'm at a place around a lot of people, and they said, is it, Coleman? Maybe the Coleman. I said, no, it's the Longhorn. You wanted the Longhorn, not the Coleman. Longhorn, we got guys that can play guard. I'd rather replace a guard than a left tackle.
You can help out a guard a lot easier than you can help out a tackle.
You can
help them out, but, man, that's a tough loss. That's a big-time loss for them to not have Cosme. But I think overall what they've done today has been so impressive because you knew coming in what they were going to do. And that's one thing about Detroit that you got to respect is they tell you who they are. And they're going to still be it. Right?
Good teams do that.
Yeah. And that's what they do, right?
Yeah.
They're going to play man. They're going to be aggressive. And what they did early on, I thought, was a good job of getting Jaden into the game by not putting him under the influence of the pressure, getting the ball out quick, simple throws, running the ball a little bit. And then once he settled in, you saw the offensive line get into a rhythm and give him time. And if they're going to play man, these receivers have done a good job of creating some separation, getting open for him down the field.
Great point.
That first half was spectacular with what he was able to do.
And let's not kid ourselves. When when you got a sledgehammer in your toolbox, B-Rob is B-Rob tonight.
Yeah.
And that's all he needs. And Eckler's always Eckler. And I don't think we've given him enough praise. He's an instant game changer because he's got quick twitch. He always gets you an extra couple of yards, sure hands, and it becomes infectious. So when everyone else, and I quote the quote, others have not let you down. You've had one ball that wasn't secured in the air game. Other than that, everything's been caught. And then Ertz. I'm working on a medal for him. I got to come up. It'll be a special canine award. But good God Almighty, he's earned it.
I mean, he's a guy that just we don't give him enough credit because early on in the year and throughout the season, people were giving him a little bit of stuff because it's no yak Zach. He catches the ball, he falls. And he does some of that, right?
Yeah.
He's an older player. He wants to protect himself. I get all that. But in big spots down the stretch of the season, who's Jaden going to? Zach Ertz.
That's right.
Over the middle of the field,
Wherever.
4th and 3, you need it early in this ball game. Who's he going to?
Yeah.
He's going to Zach Ertz, and he's making a tough catch, knowing he's going to get popped. Did the same thing against Atlanta. He's come up huge in big spots.
It's like watching Kelsey, and watching the Grand Master with Kansas City. You know where they're going, and you still can't stop it. That says a lot for both guys.
Yeah, I think what they've done has been really, really impressive to watch defensively. Look, I didn't think they were going to slow down this offense a whole lot. And frankly, outside of a couple of Goff mistakes, they haven't.
No.
They really have not. And Goff overshoots one. Goff throws one down the middle. What a play by Sanders still, Doc.
Wolverine back in Detroit.
What a play by Sanders
Don't look surprised. It's a Wolverine back in the Motor City.
It was just an incredible play. Here we got a 4th and 2 with under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Huge one if Washington wants to keep the momentum of this game on their side. But it's been so impressive to see this team march up and down the field in a hostile environment. And this is something that I didn't feel like Jaden was going to be intimidated in the moment, by the way. When it's winning time, just put the ball in your best player's hands. How many times have they called that play this year, Doc?
Well,
a little naked bootleg.
Let's give Herman let's give Herman Edwards some credit. Let's give the whole process, LSU and Cut Tough Love and this headset that he wears, we got to give it some credit.
Yeah.
Nobody else looks this smooth, this young. Hell, I think we need to get one for a couple of our friends, our young friends.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's going to start using this now.
Hell, I'm thinking about getting one.
You going to relive the glory days, Doc?
No, I just want anything that can improve your acumen.
Yeah.
To that level and make you look as if you've already done something. Why not? It's worth a try.
Well, and it's beautiful because in the game of football, it's almost like a pitcher in baseball, how football is, where a pitcher in baseball can only get so much better because you can only throw so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you throw it too much, you get hurt. In football, you can only get hit so much, especially with the new rules and everything in place for player safety and practice and all that. You can only do so much. But when you can get out there virtually, where you're never going to get hit, you don't have to get the whole team together, you're not using up organized practice time, it's all on your own time, and you can go through this stuff. Have you ever put on a VR headset, Doc?
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah, my my father-in-law, Earl Donette, and I'm underwater, and it's so real that with an addictive personality, I knew that if I didn't take it off immediately, I was so into it that I wanted to keep hunting. And it was a big squid, and I was down, and it's so real.
It's very real.
That I knew then that if I keep this up, it would be like in television baseball when I got into that and couldn't stop till I'd beaten everybody on earth. And I know I said, I got to stop. It was too good. And I knew that I would have been a victim for it. Then I'd have had to go to rehab. And I know I'm out.
Yeah, so I've got one of these VR headsets. I've got one. They've got a football game. You can play quarterback. Lamar was on the cover of it a couple years ago. And let me tell you, it's hard if you've never done it in real life. And you get to experience it. Being in the pocket, seeing what these quarterbacks see.
It matters.
But the cool thing about this for Jaden is they're not playing a video game with it. They're not playing the version I'm playing that's very rudimentary, very basic. They're playing one where they're plugging in Detroit's coverages.
Exactly.
They're plugging in Detroit's players with their tendencies. And with this new chip stuff, they're plugging them in with their actual speeds and what they do and their tendencies. And what I've heard that Jaden does is he turns the faders up a little bit so that these guys aren't running their usual speeds. They're running 1.5 times speed. They're running a little bit. So Jaden's seeing all this stuff. He's getting used to them at that. So when he goes out on the actual football field, the game slows down.
Now, if I do it, you do it. If Denton or our big friend tries it, it may not be, it'd be the same. I think the big reason why it works is because Jade's built differently.
Big time.
It's him and his relentless desire to be great. And not just for himself, that's the key, but for everybody, for others. He's a team guy. You know, it's about he's trying to win it for us and for everybody.
I mean, the reality is, Doc, I think I've seen you in as many commercials tonight as I have Jaden Daniels. And
well, once upon a time, I was, kind of a big thing.
You are still a big thing, Doc.
No.
I'm just saying, Jaden's the talk of the town. You talk to anybody around town, they're talking about town. Around the country.
That's what I'm saying. Country.
And you're still not seeing him in every commercial, right? That's going to change as time goes on. He's
smart agent.
He's going to grow.
Smart mom.
Yes, very smart.
Smart mom. Because
very smart.
All of us, we're human. And when you see somebody too much before they have a ring on their hand, you go, hold it, Slim. Well, I like you. I don't love you.
Yeah.
It ain't won nothing. We all feel and think that first thing comes to your mind, whether you want to think that or not. Don't put yourself in that position. It's a beautifully run campaign. Now, if they get in his end zone now, that's the carrot on top.
This is huge. Fourth quarter starting, 3rd and 2 at the 5-yard line. This is your chance to kind of put your foot on the throat here.
Man.
It just they can't make it easy though, Doc. You're going to go down to fourth down. You know they're going to go for it. And Washington's come up big on some fourth downs. They've also been stopped on some.
Yeah. Well, see, here's where Ertz is not in his wheelhouse. When you get a big guy in short space, and now you need quick twitch guy.
His wheelhouse is let me get open down the field somewhere and separate.
5 years ago, he might have been able to, do a little something with that. But that's okay because you got another shot at it, and this is the moneymaker now. This is whether or not you become a champion.
Yeah, this is big time. 4th and 2, play clock running down. This is your chance right here. Are they going to call the timeout? Or are they going to go with a delay of game?
But when they make a movie on this season, this play will be on it.
Big time. Well, I want to ask you about something in a second here. I want to see what happens with this play because one thing that we've seen, and we'll see what happens with this play here. One thing that we've seen
how much money do our dear friend behind the glass have on this game?
How about this? How about this, Doc?
Not nearly enough money,
many.
Doc.
They've got 12 men on the field.
No way. They say pressure burst pipes.
Is this first down?
Yes, it's first down.
First down?
12 men on the field.
First down and goal, Doc?
Why were the Lions enthusiastic?
Holy smokes.
That was false chatter.
Doc, this is something that we saw last week against Tampa. Did he get in?
I love it if you get it on first down. Okay.
So this is something that we saw last week, Doc. The mental errors were on the other side.
That's true. Yeah, B-Rob's
not this side.
You're right.
They're on the other side. You had
poise.
You had multiple times where they had the mistake on the handoff that results in the turnover.
Yep.
Graham Barton snapped the ball early on third down.
Uncharacteristic.
Stuff that just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, Al Davis coined the phrase, pride and poise.
Touchdown, Washington, Doc.
Yeah, pride and poise. Yeah, we need 3 more to wrap this up.
Touchdown, Washington. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
53 men on this roster, include the practice squad, 70 dudes. They all have faith because they believe in 5.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a dangerous thing, Doc. You can tell every single time that these guys make a play, whether it's the offense, whether it's the defense, they're thinking, we've got the guy on our side. And they're looking at Jared Goff on the other side. They're looking at all these guys on the other side. They're great players. There's no doubt about it. They're not taking anything away from them. But we've got the dude. And that's how they play. And you can see the way that they go out there and then conduct themselves, that they've got all the confidence in the world that they've got the baddest dude on the field on their side.
Who else in the league has 6 victories on the last play of the game?
Not many. None.
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 None. So, and also the thing is about you've got caveman, 2 cavemen, 2 Neanderthals. Let me rephrase that. 2 Neanderthals on the field. And neither guy will voice it, but there can only be one real leader. And the winner of this game with these similar philosophies is King Kong. And I guarantee you, Dan Campbell was leading that majority at kickoff. But if he don't win this game, DQ is going to walk out this with the thumbs up.
Oh, big time, Doc. And I mean, everything's on the line for Detroit.
Yeah.
Washington's just beginning, and it's also not over for this ride yet. Who knows? This could go all the way to a parade. We don't know yet.
Oh no, you don't. No, you can't go to the parade if you're not in the championship
exactly.
game. Right.
But this thing's still going for Detroit.
Yeah.
They're probably going to lose both their coordinators. Everything was riding on this. You're the 1 seed. You can finally host an NFC championship game, which you've never done. There's so much energy in the city.
But they're still fine.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
Because they'll come back, you'll get healthy. You get healthy, you recalibrate, and they'll be fine. Because they've been down so long. You think we've been down for your lifetime.
Oh, my gosh.
They've been down 2 lifetimes. They'll be fine. You'll see them every year for the rest of for the next 10 years. But I don't care about them, and neither do you really.
No.
What we care about is that we may not be a flash. This may absolutely be a new standard set here.
Well,
we're back in the football business.
I saw a guy. Let me see if I can find this tweet. Our guy, JP, had retweeted him. He's someone down in Dallas, Sean Sharif, and normally wouldn't care what Dallas has to
Sharif,
say.
okay.
But he tweeted earlier today, not a great cowboy feeling that Daniels is looking like this in year one.
They've had successful guys in year one. We've been there, and they still are highly successful. They're filthy rich. They got a lot of outstanding players, and we didn't sweep them. So all you need to know is that, and we don't play them right now. They're not even they're doing what they always do. They stay in the news. They keep you constantly mentioning them. That's where they're brilliant at. Right now, to hell with them.
Let's hit a break, Doc. We'll come back. We'll break it all down. 38-28, Washington with the lead. 13:29 to go. Washington kicking off. Detroit going to get the ball back. Can the defense come up with a stop? If they come up with a stop here, Doc.
Or turnover. I don't want to stop.
Turnover.
I want a turnover.
We could be talking about some good stuff. We'll hit a break here. You're listening to Burgundy and Gold Game Day Live. We're presented by Root. Doc, I think you were calling for something there. I think you were begging for not just the stop, Doc. I think you were asking for a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I'm greedy. And I realize, and I'm also fearful of the Lions, and I would never disrespect them. Goff is deadly. They are loaded as a team with a lot of pride offensively, and I want to beat them by 30 points. Then that's the only way I'll feel comfortable.
Doc, you were talking about Goff. It wasn't Goff that threw the pick. Jameson Williams, hey man, those trick plays are cute when they work.
Well, yeah, but I'm not a. It's great when it works. Oh no!
Here's your chance to go win the ball game, though. You got the ball back. Eckler breaks off a huge run. Just under 12 minutes to go. You're in the scoring zone again. You're already hopefully in field goal range, up by 10. Beautiful run by Eckler here. And by the way, I wanted to play this for my guy, Grant Paulson.
Oh, lay it off GP, man.
I'll
GP
play this
is
for my guy, Grant.
Trying to get healthy.
We got it?
Working on it.
All right, we're working on it.
Okay, GP, man. Don't do that to GP, man.
I love Grant.
I do,
Everyone
too.
knows I love Grant.
do, too. I'm a big fan. And I can't wait for when he and Danny, when they have Eckler on. It's one of my favorite listens all week. And Eckler, I mean, to that head trauma thing is vicious.
Big time.
But you can't tell it. He doesn't play like he's ever had it.
Look how he's playing.
He doesn't play like he's ever had a headache.
Look how he's playing. He's out there balling. And something I find funny, Doc, is that do you know who performed at halftime of this game?
Well, I heard because I was listening to the Rooster, and they were practicing while he was trying to do a show, and it was hilarious because they were playing over him. So it would be unfair for me.
So what's better, LiAngelo Ball performing at halftime, or the Rooster hosting a radio show from the Ford Field press box?
Well, I got to always go with my boy Rooster, man, because one thing about Rooster, they couldn't drown him out.
You definitely can.
You couldn't drown him out.
You definitely can. Well, the reason I bring it up, Doc, is LiAngelo Ball was performing because I'm guessing that the most famous rapper from Detroit, Eminem, was being saved for the NFC Championship game. I don't know that he's going to be performing. I don't know that he's going to be performing.
Well,
it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet.
No, and it's not, because they are dynamic. And at least this year's group, look, the Lion fans, they've been in the abyss longer than our group has. And I'm not mocking them. They're a loyal group, and you're right, it's not over yet. But if we hit this end zone with 7, it's going to be close.
I mean, this is where you've got to finish this game. This is winning. They talk about winning time moments. It ain't always just a one-score game where you got to go down there and finish it.
No.
This offense, we've seen, can strike in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
So until the clock hits triple zeros, it ain't over, because this offense can score quick.
Plus,
and
we're measuring
fast.
ourselves.
True.
This ain't over. This is not the Super Bowl.
No.
You got another. If you get through this, you got a better opponent that's not injury laden, that is waiting. So this is why the game is so beautiful. But you've got this kid 8 and 5, and you've got, oh man, this is beautiful to see.
Well, and Jaden had a play earlier on this drive as they're going to try to take a larger than 10-point lead, potentially make this a 3-possession game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just bobbing and weaving, somehow getting through and picks up the first down. I mean, it looks like a 5-yard run in the box score, but if you didn't watch the play,
mm-hmm.
he's bobbing and weaving, making 4 and 5 guys miss, twisting so he can get a couple extra yards. It's just been impressive to watch this whole game, Doc, where this offense, you knew going into this game it was going to be really dependent on them. And you got to give credit to the defensive side, Doc, where when the plays have been there,
mm-hmm.
they've given up some big ones. I mean, when you first walked in,
bend don't break.
You were talking about the disappointment of that end around to Jameson Williams
that really
went for the
pissed me off.
That stuff was frustrating, but they've had a couple of opportunities today, and they've came up big and came up with the ball in those opportunities, and that's huge. That's the difference in this ball game right now. 10 points.
Yeah.
You got a pick 6 on one of those.
Yeah.
You got the ball now. You come up with a fumble recovery. That's the difference in the game right now.
Well, protection's everything. It's everything. And if you protect a talented athlete, your chances increase. It's about pressure. Pressure the other guy so who breaks. Detroit broke. Because if you fumble, if you throw picks under pressure, you broke.
Here's a big chance here. You got the ball at the 13, 3rd and 2. Oh. 3rd and 2. Now 4th and 2. You going for this, Doc?
Oh, my foot's always on the pedal. Foot's on the pedal.
I think you got
now, also, 3 is strategic. Because at this point, when you start looking at the score, you say to yourself, that 3 is strategic.
It makes it a 2-touchdown game versus a touchdown and a field goal for
sure.
sure.
Yeah, so that's strategic.
I'm going for it, Doc.
Yeah.
There's a chance to go win the ball game.
Yeah.
If you go up 17 with 8 minutes to go,
Yeah.
your chances of losing are slim.
Yeah.
So here's their chance, 4th and 2. They got to come up with it. Doc.
I know.
This team, every
and here's
time.
The deal. And they went to your primary guy.
Oh, my God.
That's when you say, go home with your bad self.
Oh, my goodness. Every time there's a big spot for this team.
Yeah. To their primary guy.
I don't.
And got beat off the line of scrimmage. Right tackle got smoked. And you still, because he got quick release, gets it done. Scary Terry, wide open, all hands, move the chains.
I mean, this is coming up with a play every time they need one.
Credit you. I wimped because I was going to take 3 and just put poison on it. You went for the jugular.
Well, because you punched this in here, which we'll see. They've had some struggles in the red zone. I think he's in, Doc.
That was a smart move. Lay on that ball, Wiley.
Doc, they're about to. Let's see if they make the extra point.
They're about to walk the dog. Yeah, you've got to get the extra point. We got to get the. Did he get this? Yeah, he's up.
Let's see if they make the extra point.
He's about to walk the dog on this one. Canines.
That's a heck of a play by McNichols.
Oh, my goodness. I can't wait to hear from my peeps tonight.
By the way, if you want to start lining up for postgame, feel free, 800-636-1067. As soon as the final whistle blows, we're taking all your phone calls all night, at least till 2 a.m. We'll probably just do it 2 a.m. this time, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes, but we're taking your phone calls as soon as
you took me into my garage. Now, the big fella, I understand he was at an establishment that serves food tonight?
Yeah,
Of course.
Where was that? Honor Brewing out in Sterling?
Honor Brewing.
Yes.
Outstanding spot. That's an outstanding spot.
Yeah, him and Denton were out there today. Credit to them.
I'm not worried about Denton.
Show.
Denton has manners, and Denton is
little class, yeah.
Classy. Yeah, I'm not worried about him.
Hey, I know my guy Linnell right now is just fired up. I know my guy Linnell is fired up.
I do kind of miss the scream.
Doc, 17-point lead, 7.5 to go.
You can look at Campbell's face, those of you that have privy.
And by the way,
he
Doc,
loves them.
By the way, Doc, this isn't a collapse by Detroit.
No. No.
This is not. This is a team beating another team.
They walked in their house in broad daylight.
Yeah.
While they were sitting at the dinner table. Yeah, and this was a hostile takeover.
Big
This
time.
was no sneak attack. This was a hostile
Max,
takeover.
I'm going to need you to do me a favor.
Always.
Our guy, John Jansen, longtime skin, right? He was on with G&D yesterday, me and Danny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that dude has a burgundy and gold. He didn't have anything. He was full on Honolulu blue. He was saying that it was going to be 35-13 Detroit. We need to find a little bit of that. Just to have a little fun.
Yeah, well, Jansen, even though he's a Wolverine.
Look, man, I'd be confident going into this game if I was Detroit too. But like I was telling
number 1 seed.
Like I was telling Danny, and you've seen it play out today.
Mm-hmm.
If there was one little bit of grain of doubt, its name would be Jaden Daniels.
He gives you hope. All you need is hope.
The hope he gives us is the doubt he gives everyone else.
Absolutely. And we didn't really do anything. No low IQ moves.
None.
Don't fall, jump offside. Don't hold. Don't fumble. No 10 men on the field.
Well, and I think they've only had one spot where you saw the noise or any sort of miscommunication, and that was that 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like they were running the pitch to Jaden. B-Rob looked like he was coming in for the tush push.
Right.
That was a mistake.
That was one error.
But outside of that, I mean, you've seen Detroit make multiple. We just saw it. What was last drive? It was 4th and goal or 4th and 2, and they give up the penalty because of 12 men on the field.
Yeah, I want to hear Campbell's post game. I want to hear him more than I want to hear DQ because they didn't blow this. They got punched in the face.
Big time.
And I don't want to hear about stumbling. No. You were staggered. They got staggered. And I want, whether or not we get the credit, nobody cares. And now the question will become, after maybe one more touchdown, then I'll let it go. Then I'll say to myself, who's next?
Yeah.
And when they start looking down at this film, I don't care who you are, of the two people that are next, you got to ask yourself, now, do you consider this a shoe-in? I sure hope not.
No.
Yeah, I sure hope not.
Well, and I tell you what, Doc, I mean, this is going to be a huge, if they can hold on here, this is going to be huge because last week they essentially didn't get, it's the playoffs, you don't really get a day off, but they got nothing. They were right into it. They got it one less day while playing on Sunday night and getting back late Monday morning, right? Like, they were right into it, get ready to roll. They'll have Saturday. Hopefully you get Cosme, some of these guys healthy as the season rolls on. I mean, this has just been such an incredible performance because this feels like, this team continues to grow. This team is not the same team that you saw in week 1. This isn't the same team you saw in week 2. This team has grown up. And look, Doc, if you said that you were going to hold Detroit to 28 halfway through the fourth quarter, I think most people would sign up for that. And you say that you're going to come up with 3 turnovers, they're definitely going to sign up for it. This has been an impressive performance. The defense last week, it did what it needed. It wasn't spectacular, but it did what it needed. I think you can say the same thing about today's defense.
Well, I mean, we've got a little over 7 minutes to go in this ball game, and we're not too far from putting the 50 spot on the Lions. I'm telling you, I never imagined that. And I hope to hear from the Wolverine, Brian Carpenter, tonight on Postgame, because I need his assessment. He talked about Stanford still a lot, with Michigan. And when you get Nick Saban
Telling you, yeah,
saying that about an opponent,
pound for pound, the best player in the draft.
Player in the draft.
Yeah.
Come on, man. So, our people, and it's good that it's the front office. Our program now is layered with competence.
It's built how it's supposed to be built,
yeah,
Doc.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
And the first time in my life it's built like that.
I know.
First time in my life. And I don't think it's any shock that this is the first time I'm going to see him win a playoff game I remember, and potentially 2 going to an NFC Championship game. I don't think it's shocker at all. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue rolling with Burgundy and Gold Game Day Live. We'll transition into the post-game show as soon as this one's over. Washington with a 17-point lead, 45-28 with 6.5 to go. We'll get you updated when we come back. You're listening to Burgundy and Gold Game Day Live, presented by Rude. Welcome back. It is Burgundy and Gold Game Day Live, presented by Rude, Toby Altizer, and Doc Walker. The Commanders with a 45-31 lead with 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes away from going to the NFC Championship game for the first time since the 1991 season. We're brought to you by Rude. Is your cooling system letting you down? Score a touchdown with Rude and experience peak performance. Dominate the season with unmatched cooling power and visit RUUD.com. If it ain't Rude, it ain't right. There's a slight bit of hope, Doc, for Detroit. 45-31. Down by 14, two-possession game. They still got all 3 timeouts, so there's still potential here. Looks like Detroit's going to go for the onside kick, and doesn't look like they came up with it. Maybe they did. All right, they went with Washington. It looks like Ertz came up with it, Doc.
Lions. That's what it looks like when your season and your dreams are dwindling. You want to see max effort?
Doc, this team looks a lot like both teams look very similar to each other. The way that they play,
The way they're taught.
the grit that they play with,
Yeah.
the way that it doesn't matter what point in the season, what point in the game. This could have been a week 3 game. It looked the exact same way.
Indoctrination.
These guys just play so hard.
Yeah.
And I think what you get here is you get both sides, right? Where you look at Detroit's side, and they're the higher profile one so far, right?
They've been in the system longer.
Yeah, and they're the higher profile where people know them because they've been there. They've been building this thing. But I think Dan Quinn does a lot of the same stuff Dan Campbell does, right?
Mhm.
In the way that he galvanizes these guys, the way that they believe, the way that they fight nonstop. I think you look at the other side with, Cliff Kingsbury and Ben Johnson. Everything's kind of on them, right? They're the ones calling the plays. They're the ones in charge of this thing. They're the ones getting put in front of these things. And Ben Johnson's a hot name. Cliff Kingsbury's built his name back up this year with what he's done. You look on the defensive side of the ball, Aaron Glenn and Joe Witt and those guys and what they're able to do. It's been really, really cool to see how this team has evolved throughout the season. And I think seeing these two match up was really cool. But it's even cooler seeing Washington with a 14-point lead with 4 minutes to go in this one, Doc.
For a team sport, it's been really good for society to get an in-depth look at what team dynamics really look like and how when you have a defensive-minded head coach and now this narrative that we're going to be separated from your offensive guy. Yeah, okay, but we're developing his replacement every day. And that's what people have to understand. Philadelphia has done it. They've been ravaged. All the good teams lose their assistants, but they don't lose their position in the rankings. And we got to get used to it. It's a gesture that you've arrived. You know what we had in the past? Nobody wanted anybody we had. And that's the sign you should know you're going in the wrong direction.
Well, not only did people not want what we had, no one wanted to come here either, Doc.
Nobody, no.
No one wanted to come here.
No, I know.
And it's, again, a credit to what they've done here. Well, I want to go back to what you talked about with the front office.
Mm-hmm.
How big has this front office been? Because Ron said last year they can send him his ring if they were to win, which no one thought was a possibility, but they're still playing. This team ain't Ron's team. There's no one left from Ron's team, darn near. I mean, he had, a 53-man roster. They overturned over half of it. And the guys making plays tonight, Doc, yes, some of them are Ron guys, like Diami and whatnot, but Jaden Daniels has been the MVP.
There might be 2 guys left on his team, on the team.
Exactly. Jaden Daniels, draft pick. Mikey Samra still, 2 picks tonight, draft pick. Brandon Coleman. I think people forget about Brandon Coleman. I'm glad you brought him up last week. Brandon Coleman, rookie left tackle.
With maybe the hardest assignment,
yes,
other than quarterback, on the team.
Big time.
Have you heard his name mentioned? A couple times this year. And that's when he was coming off injury. You were concerned about his health. No, man, this is a godsend. And it just keeps on playing the bait. They just keep on playing the hits. That Bates,
is John
I'm
Bates.
so happy. He's been so close to making a big play. He blocks like a convict. I love the way he hits people. He's so physical. And I'm glad he got a reward the air game because I love this dude. Want him on every team I'm around because he's a punisher. Look at Coleman. Look at his base.
I love this.
Left tackle.
That's so good.
If you're on the screen, that's picture. That looked like George Stark back in the day, man. Athletic freak. Hands and feet.
I love, too, did you see the stat that they threw up there a couple minutes ago saying that Jaden Daniels is the first ever rookie quarterback with multiple 300-plus total yard games in the playoffs?
Doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it's just been so impressive what he's been able to do. And in the first half, it was a lot of it with his arm.
Yeah, he's described as a runner. He's really not, per se, runner. He's a quarterback who has the ability to run and can kill you from the pocket, or he can roll out and get you. And he's learning. What is he going to be like when he figures this out? That's a frightening proposition. And I'm glad that today I got to see the master play first. So watching, and the Texans played their butts off.
Big time.
But when you're playing the master, your best efforts have to go to the side. He put on another clinic. And now, I feel like I'm looking at his understudy.
Doc, I'm curious. You played this game at the highest level. Sometimes, not even sometimes, this team has won games down the stretch that were not pretty at all, right? It was not their best game. Their offense maybe wasn't clicking like it had. The defense wasn't having their best game. But in this winning streak, every single time they just find a way to win. I think you talk about Kansas City earlier today. It has not been a pretty season for Kansas City,
no,
but they always find a way to win.
Yeah.
How important is that? When you find that, you find your identity, but then you also just find a way that in those moments that you need to have it, you come up with the right play and you find ways to win.
It's like I was saying that Brian Mitchell joined me today on our Burgundy and Gold pregame show as our abbreviated version. And I wanted him to share with the public, he has great admiration for Monty Coleman. And if you listen to him, you've heard him mention Monty Coleman. You realize Monty played linebacker. He's mentioning a guy, his sparring partner. I know mine, Rich Malott, God rest his soul, the Penn State linebacker. Guys you go up against in practice are your sparring partners. And so for B. Mitch, mentioning mentorship, because you always pay a lot of attention to the best younger players on your team, because you need them to what? Mature earlier than necessary, because you need them to win now. So you pay special attention to your puppies. And B. Mitch was exceptional young, and we shared that today. And then you, in return, B. Mitch becomes the leader for his young puppy.
Sure.
Every guy knows, take a puppy and help raise it. We can't wait for him to grow up. We got to accelerate it.
And you bring that up because I think when you look at this team, when they brought in Zach Ertz, people thought, okay, he's going to help them grow.
Right.
In
and
a
he
season
has. Cynic, you might not have seen as much of him. Wait till next year.
But I think, too, Doc.
And Bates has improved in his passing game.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I think when you bring in a Zach Ertz, you bring in a Bobby Wagner, people were thinking, okay, that's nice. They're going to help with the veteran leadership. Mm-hmm. They did that, obviously.
By example.
And they did that.
By example.
But they also are now playing pivotal roles for a team that's going to go to the NFC Championship.
By example.
They are not daunted by any of these moments.
Yeah.
They are not daunted by any of this.
That could have been checkmate.
Well, it could have been, but.
Okay.
All right, let's get a break in.
Yeah.
And then.
Boy, that would have been that. You know what? That would have been. Plus, it would have made the score look juicier. And those are little things. And it's almost kind of good if we're able to eke this one out. We're lucky enough to do it. Because then, because Detroit was talking some trash. B. Mitch said.
Absolutely.
Their fans were talking a big lot of trash. And my old tag team partner, Dan Miller, who's been on the air all week here, I can't wait to get him back on next week. Oh, he's going to be devastated.
All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about the game as it winds down here. Just 2.5 to go. You're listening to Burgundy Gold Game Day live on The Fan.
Hoorah.
Doc, for the first time since 1991, the Washington franchise is going to the NFC Championship game as they win 45-31 over the Detroit Lions. What a win. Jaden Daniels' rookie season rolls on because Washington is playing another game next week in either Philly or LA for the NFC Championship game.
It's awesome. I'd like to feel like I was pumped. I'm relaxed because I'm not shocked watching the game.
Exactly.
I'm not if I hadn't watched it and you'd have just put the score up for me, I'd have go, well, what happened? Having watched it and watched Scary and watched the offensive line, and let me get a Fab Five some props. The return of B-Rob, the offensive line, Eckler, just guys off the top of my mind, a collective team win. And the beautiful part about it is that it wasn't perfect. They can even be better. And that's frightening because they're going to need to be. And that's a part of the process. They could actually be better. And I'm sitting here going, nobody deserves it more than we do as a fan base. And I'm really proud. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for the other big guy. And but for you young people have never seen any success, you deserve it. And I am really happy that we haven't done anything. This is doing something. We haven't gotten to where we need to go, but we're one step closer.
This has been incredible. This has been such a fun season, and it's continuing to roll on because this team is never out of it with Jaden. And you went into an incredibly tough environment at Ford Field tonight where everything's stacked against you. You're facing the number one seed. You're facing one of the best offenses, not just in the league, but in the history of this league. This has been a spectacular offense. And not only did you go there and squeak out a victory, did you just barely find a way? You won this game. You won this game. You didn't just barely squeak by and find a way. You won this ball game. An incredible win for Washington. 800-636-1067. You want to hop in. Toby Altizer, Doc Walker with you here on the Burgundy and Gold postgame show. We're brought to you by Rude. Is your cooling system letting you down? Score a touchdown with Rude and experience peak performance. Dominate the season with unmatched cooling power and visit RUUD.com. If it ain't Rude, it ain't right. Doc, want to read you a couple of numbers, and then we'll start with some phone calls. I'm sure we're going to be packed all night. Take a quick look at the box score. Listen to this. Jaden Daniels tonight, 22 of 31, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Check this out, Doc. You talked about the Fab Five up front. No sacks. 0 sacks. There have been no run game in Washington outside of Jaden for quite some time. How about this? Brian Robinson returning to his old self. 15 carries, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels with 51 yards on the ground. Eckler with 47 yards on the ground. 42 carries for the team, 182 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's the team that we hadn't seen in a long time. De'Ami Brown, 6 catches for 98 yards. Terry McLaurin, 4 for 87 and a touchdown on that beautiful screen play where he split the 2 blockers and took it to the house for 58 yards. What a game tonight. Mikey Sandra still with 2 interceptions. Quan Martin with a pick 6. Jeremy Chin with a pick to seal the game. What a night for this team in Detroit, Doc. What a night.
Team effort, team victory, team success. And they've been talking about the team. So it's only fitting that all 3 facets contributed. And let me give out a shout out to Burgundy and Gold Nation that traveled. We had several callers today en route to Detroit on their way to go through that pilgrimage. Brian Mitchell, B. Mitch, joined me earlier today at noon, 12:30 to be exact. Said how he was harassed on one of the planes by Lion fans. And, of course, he gave him the middle finger salute.
Not B. Mitch.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. Exactly, B. Mitch. And So in our fan base that travels, Tailgate Ted and all the group Road Warrior, that whole group, I'm so proud of them because they're robust. They're such a symbol. Chief Z.
I've said it for years. We had talent when we went to the playoffs in years past, but we didn't win the seasons after that because we didn't have a coaching staff to manage accountability and excellence and maximize what you get out of your talent. We have a lot of one-year guys that won't be back next year, or we don't know if they're going to sign back. But we built a team that has a winning organization mindset. So that is what you build on. That is what Joe Gibbs did in 1981. That is what Bill Walsh did in 1981. That is what Jimmy Dawson did in 1991. That is what Chuck Noll did in the early 1970s, all the way through the 1970s. That's what excellent organizations do, and I am happy about it. Good night.
All right, Coach. Man.
This team is 60 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl. This team is 60 minutes away from playing for Lombardi. And year one of a rebuild, by the way. And year one. And I'm so glad that everyone that has been on these airwaves has said the same thing. We can talk about how special this season is when it's over. It ain't over, Doc.
The worst loss to me in all of sports is not the Super Bowl. Lost one of those. It's the championship game. Because then you don't get to live the week of the Super Bowl experience.
Well, they're 60 minutes away from experiencing that.
And I will say this, and it doesn't matter where it's at, and I know that little moniker that we tend to, I don't know if I thought, I said I need to carry this with me, because what started off being mocked and, laughed at a little bit, it's not so funny once you start pulling it off. I think I left it in the car. And I was going to bring it in for your large friend to see, and that really thing is, and we've mocked it, but any place, anywhere, anytime. And I'm looking at Dan Campbell. Now, this is why this is a crushing blow to another Neanderthal, because one of your own came in.
Mm-hmm.
On your turf, with the rest of the squad. Now, your defense has been wrecked, and we understand that. That's why I can't wait to see the rematch. I can't wait till next year. Well, I hope they meet again, and hopefully they will, because I want to see both of them in full strength. They deserve that. And I don't feel bad for Detroit, because from where they've been, they're so they've covered so much ground. They were the epitome of stupidity in terms of an organization.
Yeah, big time.
They were the Class A example. They now are a Class A example of what you can do when you don't listen to anybody else. And you listen to people within your building. You do it the way players understand it. They got so many ex-players and people with have NFL experience. They'll be fine. But I guarantee you who they'll be pulling for with the people that are left in this thing. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind.
I mean, no one wants to run into this dude right now. No one wants to run into this team right now. It's a special season. It keeps rolling on. 800-636-1067. Mm-hmm. Washington is going to the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1991. Let's get out to Jonesy. Jonesy, what's going on?
K9.
Hey, keep on the K9. We going, baby. We going. We pulled it off. Now, Toby, I heard you say you sat up under a raggedy owner, which was a Joe, and a bunch of Jimmys that was general managers. I came up with Bobby Buffett and Charlie Casserly. Winning guys. We got winning guys back in the building. Jack Kent Cook hired his people, got out the way, let them do their jobs. We got a guy who's from here in Josh Harris and Josh Harris Group, Magic, boom, did the same thing. Hey, the model should never change. Get your people in place and get out the way, and let's see what they can do. Dan DQ came here in year one, put it together, and look where we at now. We get ready to go to the big dance, baby. Yep. And if we get past this dance, we're going to the dance of all dances. And I believe we can get that too. But as always, it is one game at a time. So as I sit back and watch TV tomorrow and see who's trying to be at the other end of the table at the dance so we can knock them out too. Because, see, I'm sorry, and I know you hate hearing this, people at the K9s, but I got to say it. This is where we got to put the foot on the neck, crush the windpipe, and take it all the way. I'm out.
Well, I can't be that violent. I'm trying to tone down my violence.
What a special game.
K9.
What a special game. What a special season. This has been a lot of fun. Let's get out to Bonesy. Bonesy, what's going on?
K9.
Hey! Shout out to my main man, Toby Alsheimer, the youngest in charge. Shout out to Rick Doc Walker. The offensive lineman had no holding penalties. Jared Goff threw 4 interceptions. Hey, you know what? We're going to the Super Bowl, man. We winning the next game. I'm getting ready to get my ticket for New Orleans right now because I've seen this before, Doc. You know I've seen this before. I go all the way back to RFK. I've seen it before. Y'all better get on the bandwagon. Matter of fact, tell them to get the bandwagon out because we going to New Orleans. We going all the way to the Super Bowl. Believe me, because we are all the way back. Let's go, Burgundy, and go. Let's go. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it, Bonesy. People are fired up, Doc, as they should be. This is the first time since 1991 this team is going to the NFC Championship game. And this season feels special because every single time they step into a moment that seems like it should be too big for them, it's just not. It's never too big. And the big reason why, Doc, is they showed a clip of Jaden sitting on the sideline, and even Kevin Burkhardt's like, does anything rattle this guy? They just put up 31 in the first half on one of the best teams in the NFL, and it seems like it's no big deal.
You know, and I think that imagine being a freshman and your head coach the New York Jets in the NFL. I just think you got to look back as opposed to that freshman coach who had coached in high school. What he has been through, most guys haven't. And then you go through a freshman at Arizona State, they're not you at LSU. And you pass that test, and to be coached hard. I believe in hard. I mean, guys that are coached in a militaristic form and survive it. Don't take it personal. He doesn't.
I mean, this guy's been tested in every single way. And I want to know what raises his heart rate, Doc, because we've seen him have the ball with 10 seconds left, down by a touchdown, needing to score, and him throw a touchdown against Philly. Yeah. We've seen him get the ball first in overtime against Atlanta with a chance to clinch it. And what does he do? He drives him right down there, makes the plays necessary. This dude never seems rattled. He's going to his first NFC championship in his rookie season. You know, we hear this all the time. He doesn't act like a rookie. He doesn't play like a rookie. This dude embodies it. Because I've seen dudes that have been in the league 5 and 6, 7 years that don't play with the composure this guy plays with. We've seen a guy the last 2 weeks in Minnesota that's been in the league for how long face this exact same defense a couple weeks ago and completely crumbled because they did the same thing. And by the way, in Minnesota, they got Jettis, one of the best receivers in the league. They've got Jordan Addison. They've got T.J. Hawkinson. They've got all this stuff. Jaden doesn't have all that stuff.
No, their skilled people may be better than ours, but our O-line today was better than their O-line
today was
then.
Spectacular.
Yeah,
100%.
And that's what Johnson, I think that if we don't credit our offensive line coaches for what they did just a week removed from where they were ordinary, then we need our ass kicked. Because, yeah, a lot is Jaden, but it's also look at the clean pocket that allowed him to navigate that on his own concern. Now, he got a little bit of pressure, but I think we have to. And if we don't appreciate it, we'll appreciate it next week.
For sure.
Whoever it is, Rams and Eagles, sick them.
They can get after you.
They can sick you.
They can get after you.
They come after you. And I'm going to tell you what, I know we praise the Eagles. Rams, some young dogs.
Big time.
I mean, I'd almost prefer the Eagles because of the way they go about their business. They almost act as if they've already done it.
Yeah, but you also know the Eagles, right?
Yeah, but there's a sense of arrogance with them. Like, yeah, we were in it 2 years ago. Yeah, we know who we are. Rams, hungry.
Yeah.
Savage. The way they played Minnesota was like, that's how I want us to look. They devoured that poor boy from SC.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to murder him in a game. And the way they were, and they're young. And there is something, why I keep saying young, it's just endless energy. They rotate, but they don't back down. So to kill, let's us switch gears. Let's become the opponent. How you stop JD5?
Yeah.
You say hit him, he's been hit. Chase him, he's been chased. Everything's been done to him. So how you going to stop him?
I mean, and you can say, well, keep him in the pocket, make him pass. He threw for 300 today.
He's done that.
He can get it done. And by the way, Brady brought this up on the broadcast. You can get a guy unblocked, and he still runs for a first down.
That's my point.
I don't know how you stop him.
That's my point.
I don't know how you stop.
See, so that's the point about it is that they're going to be up worrying about him. And again, I want to go through the sick bay. I want to see who we got, what's going on. Be honest, I haven't seen one play yet of the game again for the second time. I'm so proud of Badass and the 5-5. I mean, they won't get a lot of pub. But we watched Detroit devour Minnesota.
Oh, big time. I mean,
after Minnesota. Remember the bubbly shower that they gave the Trojan just 3 weeks ago? When he came in and they killed somebody. And Minnesota's really good.
He was seeing those ghosts like he was in New York. He was seeing those ghosts.
They were bringing
no sacks tonight on Jaden Daniels.
0.
And Cosme, we'll see what his health is, but Trent Scott stepped in there and played well.
Big boy, you put him in the phone booth. He's huge. Put him in the phone booth. Then they can't get around him. He should be able to fill up a phone booth. Who you going to get through him?
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't like to speak without watch. I want to go back and really watch and see. Everybody that made that team, you should be able to win a game with them, or that's your
Big
fault.
time.
I don't believe in this. Well, we lost our starter. Well, then your assistant coach needs to be bullwhipped. Your job is to develop people all year. By the time we're at the end of the year, you've had all training camp. He's been in our program the whole year. He can't play? That's on you. I need to replace you. What the hell you think we're doing here? Running a daycare? That's what happened with them clowns that we got rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
800-636-1067. You want to hop in on the MGM National Harbor listener lines. Let's get out to KP in Dallas. KP, what's up?
First of all, I want to say I am very fortunate and very blessed to be sitting next to a former Redskinette cheerleader, class of 89-90. We both are from the Dallas area.
All right.
We grew up here. We are in the Dallas Cowboys television market.
Good deal.
You have no idea how hard it has been to support this dysfunctional team being so close to the Dallas Cowboy television market. And to see the dysfunction that's going on with the Dallas Cowboys, and to have Dan Quinn, a former Dallas Cowboy defensive coordinator, turn this team around in 1 year, it is glorious. It is a blessing. We ran some errands today, and we were decked out in our Redskin gear. We got comments from folks out in the public. And I want to thank JP for turning me on to Angels Envy Bourbon, because the second this game kicked off, I was on Angels Envy, because that is a special occasion bourbon. And I'll be damned if we didn't beat the number 1 seed in the NFL NFC division, and we are going to the NFC championship. It is glorious. I cannot wait to talk to my Cowboy fans tomorrow. This is such a team win. There are no individuals on this team. It is a team win, and we are relishing in it. Thank you for taking my call.
Enjoy,
appreciate
man.
it, man.
You enjoy it.
Wear
That's
that burgundy
awesome.
and gold geared proudly down there tomorrow.
Hell to the W.
Appreciate it, man. It was an incredible game. I want to shout one guy out.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to talk about Jaden. We're going to talk about the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Cliff did a fantastic job tonight.
Again.
Early on, I thought he did a good job of getting Jaden into the game, right? Easy throws.
He had a hiccup.
Yes.
When he got a little artistic instead of pounding that ball up in there, but I appreciate a man that corrects himself.
Sure.
More so than anything. And then he can't, you know what? And then he has some help. B-Rob.
Well, and that's what I wanted to bring up. If you notice, when they started to get the run game going a little bit, it wasn't your typical formation. It looked like the same in front. It looked like the Tennessee Volunteers offense. Those wide receivers were darn near standing on the sideline. So they're getting guys out of the box and saying, if we can't run with nobody in the box, we're not going to run it. And so he found a way to manufacture ways to run the football, which we didn't think they could do, by the way, right? We talked about it all week. We said they haven't run the ball. They haven't been able to. At some point, you just move on from it. And Cliff said, we've got to find a way. And if the way is that we take the receivers completely off the field to do it, then that's what we'll do.
Smart assessment on your part. I was not able to see that in game.
I mean, these dudes
in a crowd. See, that's the thing about when you watch a game in a crowded area, you can't. I didn't see it that way. I saw him get a little artistic when I wanted him to run. Then I saw him make the corrections from it. I love the dude being able to, first of all, he's a man's man. He accepted the fact that, you know what, I had the chance to do it my way, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
A guy I entrusted, basically, kid betrayed him because he gave him autonomy, he gave him trust, and the guy wouldn't study. And it made Cliff look bad, made all of them. Cliff went out like on his own retreat, not like ayahuasca and going to get high. He went to clean up his brain and to refund. He's readjusted. I think it's awesome that an adult can do that.
Big time.
To me, I admire this dude. Then he comes back and he sets this thing up with an infant. But even more importantly, what he's done to impress me is Marcus Mariota. Because honestly, if Jaden had a turned ankle today, I feel just as confident with Mariota. And to me, that's his genius. What he showed me and Marcus coming in there, cleaning that up, cloning in his own way, rebuilding his athletic arrogance that allows him to retrace his steps in the past is beyond brilliance. And being able to manipulate this offense through a few injuries, Cliff Kingsbury right now is balling. He's balling. Now, does that transfer without this whole group? Of course it doesn't. But he's going to have to throw his name in the hat and see if he wants to try to attempt it to recreate it on his own pattern. That's up to him. But either way, this won't be forgotten.
So on the year, because you talk about guys stepping up, having guys ready to go. You talk about Marcus.
Absolutely.
How about this guy? De'Ami Brown. On the season, Doc. 30 catches for 308 yards and 1 touchdown. Not impressive. He was out there. He didn't make a huge impact during the season. These last 2 games, Doc, 11 catches for 187 yards and a touchdown.
Impactful.
Huge.
This is do or die. Everybody steps up. How many drops were there tonight?
Not many.
I don't remember one.
I don't remember.
So that's my point. What I'm giving Cliff and that whole staff, when I say Cliff, don't get me wrong, Cliff and his staff, because Cliff's responsible for the staff.
And they brought in a good staff, too.
They got an all-star staff. So that's the thing when you accept these jobs. If I'm Cliff and I could get a gig and take them all with me, sign me up. You can't. Can't do that. Now you got to hope that and they're layering. But because there's people in this staff that I'm sure he'd be able to take that would want to be given a raise and move on. But all coaches' staffs are doing that. They're layering and going. I remember all the smirks we got when we took the Giants offensive line coach. Johnson, everybody, wait, they got the bomb. Really? He's been incredibly gifted in what he's been able to pull off with a baby 2-position player at TCU, at guard predominantly, at left tackle without undescribed, not what the, quote, ideal left tackle looks like. So what? He's athletic. He's a freak. He's been nicked. And usually young kids get nicked and it kills them. Not Coleman. Nick fought through it. And I think even more so, if Trent grades out well tonight and he gets another guy to come back in the midst of injury and not hurt them but help them, man, Allegretti, what he has done with this line this year, I hope they're able to celebrate this, man, with a ring. Because it's a job that nobody's going to give him a lot of credit for it. But you know, because JD, he's not a Statue of Liberty. He enhances it. But it's not like he's running all the time.
No, when he needs to.
He does when he needs to. They're blocking, man. And I'll tell you what, it's like, I don't believe it. I know they added another game, so the numbers still freak me out, but I kept going ahead and add another game. The number seems crazy. How many games they've already won. I keep saying they add
Unreal.
another game. They add another game. So what?
Well, Doc, they can keep adding games because they're still rolling.
Still winning.
They're into the NFC Championship, and we'll get back to the phones in just a second. You know what you're laying out reminds me of? I grew up watching VHS tapes of this team and its history. This reminds me of when George Allen said, 40 men together, can't lose. Can't lose. Everybody's working together. Everybody is on the same page.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, those are the films that Dallas Hickman covering kicks here and Pete Wasaki. And because Brig Owens is on that team, that's my favorite team growing up. I, like you at that age, I was watching that team. And then to actually get a chance to play with Charlie, having Brig here in this town, and, you know, Jerry Smith is like a god. And you're meeting all these guys, and, of course, the great guys on that O-line. The over-the-hill gang, which, because George ended up coaching with the Rams, so Myron Patios, a lot of those guys played with the Rams, too. Then came back, George was going. So I was so keened up and knew so much about these guys and how they had camaraderie. And Salty Dog, man, Ron Saul. So when you inherit it, and then when Riggo came back, and to see that a guy that meant so much to the line, and just it's about camaraderie, how they celebrated wins and had songs they sang. They just had things that were quirky, that were different. And with George Allen, there was a whole sense of, it meant so much to him, the culture, about what it meant to wear burgundy and gold, and that rivalry, and all the things that people think are weird or they don't get it. It was everything. He emphasized it.
And by the way, Doc, it can be weird outside of the room. If it's not weird inside the room, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And you bought into it, and they sold you, and they taught you that, so you knew what you were representing. So when you covered a kick here on this team, the Wild Bunch, that's what the special, it was the Wild Bunch.
Yeah.
Well, just by name alone, do you think you're going to go out there and jog?
No.
No. You think
No.
you're going to come by there and check up? You run through everything.
Well, and I think Dan Quinn has done a good job of
Same
embracing the history of this
That's
franchise,
exactly right.
When he's showing up to a press conference wearing a Doug Williams shirt. When they had Doug come into the room, everyone's wearing a Doug Williams shirt.
And the feather.
Embracing the history. Yeah, absolutely.
The best thing, and he was subtle. And all you need is one feather. You don't need the whole. He just let you know, I got your back.
Yeah.
And it meant something to me, and I get it. And doesn't mean it's not all coming back. But it should never be forgotten.
Correct.
Should never be whisked away as if it didn't exist, because it did, and it does. And I always got a piece of it on me. You can suppress it for your enterprise, but you're not going to suppress that part of my life and what I represented. And there's a part of it for those of us that represented it with such pride. And this is what DQ represents, man. And he did it in warp time. When the last group, 4 years, 4 years, my ass.
Doesn't take
This
4
guy
years
did it
this
4
time.
months.
Exactly
Yeah,
right,
come
Doc.
on. Yeah.
Exactly right. 800-636-1067. You want to hop in on the MGM National Harbor listener lines. You're listening to the Burgundy and Gold postgame show with Toby Altizer and Doc Walker on 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980.
Ben Johnson alert. Ben Johnson alert. Ben Johnson alert.
Sets it downs. Oh, look at this trick lead. Jamison Williams has it. Look at the throw. They're throwing to the field. Intercepted! Mikey Sabersill has it. There's a penalty. Hang on a second. Far side of the field.
Oh, man.
My boy Dan Miller on the call.
I wonder if Ben Johnson's going to have any interviews next week. I don't think he's doing anything. I think he's free.
Man,
Schedule just opened up.
Leave Grant alone, man.
I'm not picking on Grant. I'm picking on Ben Johnson.
He's trying to heal.
Hey, he called some really good plays tonight. He also called one that Jamison Williams threw an interception on. I don't know.
Yeah, well.
I'll take it, Doc. I will take it.
It was a tough week, and there'll be a whole bunch of revisionist history about people will be telling you, I can't wait to hear next week that they told you this is going to happen and blah, blah, blah. But it was a very simple game plan from my standpoint. If Detroit were to come out, and this is why coordinators, to me, are all suspect. Very simple formula. That kid in the backfield is phenomenal. He's one of the fastest human beings I've seen.
I mean, some of the angles people were taking on Gibbs tonight, it showed you how fast he is.
I said, give it to him 40, 45 times.
Yes.
And I would find it very difficult. For me, I would have given it to him 40, 45 times for two reasons. One, I want to keep 5 off the field.
Correct, yes.
And I don't think we tackle is not our strong suit. Taking on blocks at the point of attack is not our strong suit. So I want to challenge us physically at the point of attack with their offensive line, which was their strength. And now with this dual backfield with horsepower, I think if they got up first on us, and then they hogged the ball, I thought that would have been, that's what I would have done had anybody been interested in trying to figure that out. I'd have tried to choke the life out of JD5 because I'd have been that scared of him. But, of course, no one listened.
And here's the thing, Doc. This is what I like. You get down to playoff football, the stuff that we talked about all season with Jaden, where it's like you got to be careful in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want him getting hit. You don't want to screw that. Find a way to win.
Exactly.
Find a way to win.
He's
and
tough.
so tonight, Jaden Daniels threw the ball 31 times, and he ran it 16 times. Jahmyr Gibbs was the second best player on the field tonight, probably, outside of Jaden. He ran the ball 14 times for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he caught 6 balls for 70 yards. That's 175 yards, 2 touchdowns on 20 touches. That dude should have had 30 touches. What are you waiting for? What are you holding him back for? What are you not giving him the football for? I don't know. I'm glad they didn't, though. 800
thrilled. Thank you.
800-636-1067. You want to hop in on the MGM National Harbor listener lines. Let's get out to Byron in San Antonio. Byron, what's going on, man?
Byron.
Dun, 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 dun. They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us. Dun, 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 dun. You're absolutely right, Doc. But when you get behind and you're a dummy as a coordinator and you feel as though I have to throw, Jared Goff is who Jared Goff is. He is not a great quarterback. He had a good season this year, but he is not a great quarterback. And getting back to what you said, Doc, JD5 had a clean pocket for most of the night, and we ran the football because we were up 50-2, my you-know-what. And Governor Westmoreland, they're the Washington Commanders. That's why the stadium is called Northwest, because that's where they're coming back to, you Bama. Out.
All right, Byron, appreciate it. I don't know what Wes Moore said if it frustrated him, but regardless, let's get out to Kane in L.A. Kane, what's going on?
Hey, y'all. Guess what TikTok and the Detroit Lions got in common tonight? Their time is up. Our time is now. Hell. You know, I thought it was funny at the end of the Detroit-Minnesota game, Dan Campbell told Kevin O'Connell, he was like, he'll see him in 2 weeks. Yeah, in Cancun, sucker. Yeah, I called you guys last week. Remember, I called you last week, and I said, this is destiny, this is fate. We have too many things happening for the first time since 1991 that's happening this season, including We scored 45 points this game, the most of all season, but we scored 28 in the second quarter, which were the most in a quarter since 91. All right? And I'm just like, since the Cleveland game, I felt we were going to the Super Bowl. It was the first time I've ever seen a backup quarterback in the game when Mariota came on for Daniels. And then once we beat Chicago with the Hell Noah, the Miracle in Maryland, I started looking for hotels near the Nolan Superdome because I said we are going. Because this is destiny, guys. This is fate. And how fitting is it that Ben Johnson had to atone for his sins for wasting that private jet fuel and leaving us? And we got something bigger and better. Even with a phantom face mask spotting them 7, we still won. Shout out to Frankie Louvu. That boy is a QB killer. He got Jalen Hurts still thinking he's at Alabama, and then he knocked out Jared Goff, who thought he was in Berkeley, California, back in his college days. Mikey Sandersill, Defensive Rookie of the Year for these playoffs. I hope Stan Cosme is able to come back. Rest in peace, rest in paradise, Chief Z. I wish you would see this, brother, but we're going to do it for you. I'm telling y'all, man, get y'all reservations ready. I hope the Rams win so I can see the game here in L.A. If not, I'll see you guys in New Orleans, man. Let's get it.
Appreciate
it.
Hell to the W.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of funny, though, all the storylines and all the stuff, and somehow Washington comes out on top, and everyone's talking about Ben Johnson this, Ben Johnson that. Cliff Kingsbury's going to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I want the broadcaster, Grant Paulson, was in a little spat with the guy to Detroit. I think they had a couple words, maybe online. I want to follow up on all that. This is the fun part for a day or so for all the trash talkers that took shots at us, which is the fun part, as long as it's in the good spirit.
And here's the fun part, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk your stuff for a day because we don't even know who they're playing next week yet.
Like, that's the whole day, yeah.
You can have fun for a day because they'll figure it out tomorrow.
And plus
who
it's
they're
Saturday
playing.
night.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about, I mean, tomorrow morning, the Junkies will hit with Victory Monday. No, it's Sunday. So we got to cover. So this is a good day that we'll get a chance to have some fun with this, somewhat of relief. Seeing our people happy on the road, it really is comforting. Just, tonight, to be in a packed area and to see people that have been supporters of the organization for over 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, season ticket holders, and they'll all be out at the pub and just embracing, and to have all the stories of all the years and the games. And Billy Bain, my guy, man, the owners of these places, that when it doesn't work or the crowd leaves early because we lost and revenues aren't, you buy all that, you stack all those goods up and you eat it.
Back-to-back weeks now, Doc. Playoff football.
Been great.
And you can hear chants from the Burgundy and Gold fans.
Oh, man. I was downtown last week. You going out to MGM. Everywhere you've gone, we had an event down in Northern Virginia today. And, Denton Day and the big guy, they were out there. God knows how much he ate. We should apologize. We should probably go out there and pay something because I know he probably set a record.
I'm seeing people tweet this week, Doc, and people, post on Twitter or on Facebook, wherever, saying, I'm wearing my Burgundy and Gold gear. I'm walking around the local grocery store, and people are saying, you ready for Saturday nights? Let's do this thing. We're going on, right? When's the last time that's happened around here? It wasn't last year, I can tell you that much. It hadn't been for a while that you could wear your Burgundy and Gold gear, and the guy walking right next to you wearing the same thing doesn't say more than like, hey, man, what's up? Go Skins. That's about it. That's all you get. Now people are excited to talk to you.
And usually this time of the year, Dallas owns this time of the year because they're in the playoffs.
And we're looking at draft position.
New coach or new players or new facility. It's always a distraction we usually put up with. Now we may actually have the opportunity to do all of it, and all we're focusing on now is the next game.
Well, how refreshing, Doc, that this season on our station, on 980, you know what we've talked about? Talked about football, Doc. We've talked about football.
Yeah.
We're talking about
and
NFC Championship football.
And the Caps.
And the Caps. Big win over the Pens today.
Oh, man.
How about that?
And that's the thing about it. I watched the other night. It's just winning is contagious. And what do they have? The Caps and the Commanders have in common? A legacy player.
Yeah.
Somebody that's different. They got an alien. They've had him for a long time. Ovi.
Well, and the cool part, Doc, is because the stain on the burgundy and gold is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see how the Caps showed up today?
No.
Everybody was wearing Washington Commanders gear. Alex Ovechkin was wearing a Jaden Daniels jersey. Tom Wilson showed up in a Bobby Wagner jersey.
It don't surprise me.
John Carlson, I think, was wearing Terry McLaurin.
But see, that's the center. That's when you know that we're functioning the way it ought to be. We feel that with the Nats.
Yeah.
I think we're very close to that, especially proximity. But also, most of us growing up have some background in baseball, very few in hockey, because you're just not introduced to the sport. But it's so attractive. It really is for me now, even more so. As football gets safer and safer, I love hockey more and more because it's fast and physical. And the big hits now don't come on Sundays to me. They come when I watch the NHL.
Yeah, big time.
And it is unbelievable.
I'll
and
tell you
I
what.
even love it when they're 3-on-3, the 4-on-4 opportunity, penalty, the uneven play, because it's faster and more ferocious.
There was a big hit tonight after Jared Goff threw a pick. Frankie Louvu, lead blocker on Jared Goff.
Yeah.
There's a big hit right there.
I know it. And it didn't get and it wasn't a flag.
It wasn't a flag.
It wasn't a flag, but it generated another hit that happened later. See, even if they don't get you, if the guys don't call it and you hit a quarterback, the guy's going to get you. Guy's going to get somebody.
I tell you what, Doc, Jared Goff was feeling that the rest of the night.
It changed him.
Absolutely changed him.
Yeah, it changed him. And that's the difference with JD5. JD5's taking hits like that.
I mean, look at last week. Zion McCollum lit him up on the sideline.
But he's kind of used to it.
Yeah.
And when you're built the way he's built, you've been hit that way a lot in your life. He is wired in a way that's almost like an absorbent. He takes it and absorbs it in a way.
I mean, go back to that Atlanta game. How do you get bent backward like that? And he just pops up.
That
Let's go.
that affected me. When I saw that, I mean, I don't know how his mom reacted to that one.
I was in the stands.
But that's like
watching that, and everybody around is like, oh, no, here we go again.
Yeah, I thought that was the bad one, and I keep thinking, that's why I said to me the most comforting thing, I go into games now, and the first thing is that after all these years, I'm not emotionally affected by anything that happens now because I keep looking for the flag or the next play or something. So when I see the play happens, even if it's a score, I go, it might be called back.
Yeah.
So I don't react to anything now because I go, that'll be called back, or something went wrong, until I don't react to it until I know it's official. I've been caught too many times off guard, and it just wastes your energy and your emotion. And I wait, and I go, wow, that went no flag? Okay, cool. So we get that. Because just when you think, and this illegal downfield thing now with the RPOs, that thing is driving me nuts. Is it really that big of a factor in the daggone play? Maybe it is. Safety reasons, I don't know. But a couple of these plays are just driving me bat manure. And then I go, but if they make the game safer, it is better in the long haul because it's a nice game. And I watched the Texans and Kansas City. There was some vicious hits.
Big-time hits. That Houston defense was flying around. Both those teams
and that
came
game
to
was so competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really never out of reach. And and that's the kind of football I love. I don't want to see slaughter. I guess I was betting on it. I'm not playing the game. I want it to go down to almost the last play, which is unfair because it just drives people nuts.
You would have loved this season for Washington then.
With 6. I've never seen anything like this.
Nothing like it.
This guy, and I keep thinking, well, what if he wasn't on your team? What would you think about him? And I go, well, I've seen it. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Patrick Mahomes does what JD5 does. He's been doing it. This is 7 years now that they've had this magical run. And the day it hit me, I go, could we be on like a 6 or 7 year? That's what they are on.
Yeah.
It's a 7-year run with Mahomie and all these things they've won and been in because he's like Patrick. Now, the other guy in Baltimore has, and the guy in Buffalo, they all have similarities, but nobody's pulled it off like Patrick and now Jaden in terms of because their teams win. And they don't have to be perfect for their teams to win, but their team wins the game. The other guys build up gaudy stats, but their team doesn't win the game. I want the guy whose team wins the game like Tom.
Yeah.
Tom looked like he was disabled. Everything people call check down Charlie. He's the check down Charlie poster boy.
I'll take checkdowns for 7 Super Bowls.
But he got you completions. He kept the chains moving.
Yeah.
So why is it okay when Tom does it, but when Kirk does it, it's a negative? It's because Kirk didn't win the games.
Yes.
So that's why I keep saying you have to win the game for any of this to make sense to me. If you don't win the games, I don't pay attention to you.
And I think the similarity you're talking about between what you're seeing with Jaden and Patrick, and you're not saying they're the same guy, but with Patrick, Patrick always does and he has a knack for is when they've got a habit. It's 4th down. It's 3rd and long. It's the 4th quarter. They're down by 4 points. They've got to have it, a minute to go. He runs for the first down. He throws a touchdown. He finds a way. Jaden has that knack as a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about it earlier when we're starting the show during the game.
Right.
It's 4th and 2. What do they find? They find Terry on a drag route. Time and time again, early in the game.
Why do you find somebody's primary?
4th and 3 early in the game. They find Zach Ertz.
They do the same 2 guys every week. So I'm defending him. I'm the defensive coordinator. I come in. No, not defensive coordinator. The head coach or the owner comes in. Let me tell you 2 nitwits something. They got 2 guys. They throw them to same 2 guys every game. It's like Kelsey. Today, I don't know if you saw it. Patrick's almost about to be sacked.
Unreal.
He stumbles. He's throwing off. I said, I'd have bet my life. That ball is going to number 87. And sure enough, it goes to him. Those 2 guys connect again. So you're telling me that the guy that was assigned to 87 was not told that when, and that's why I go, we finally have a guy like that. You know, like what Baltimore has, like what Buffalo has. What does it mean? It means that if you surround him with a few more freaks, you got a chance. Because that kid 95 in Kansas City, let me tell you something.
They've got special players over there. Big time dudes.
And the kid they got out of the Russian
Karlaftis.
Let me tell you something.
Special. 3 sacks today.
Dog.
You can't
miss. You got to have a young dude. You can't just have. You got to have them at all levels. You know, that's a good lineup.
Yeah.
That's why I love the Rams. I'm so high on the Rams now because I got to really focus on their D-line for the 3rd time this year. But when they play Minnesota, I know their left tackle Minnesota was out. It don't matter. And you'll see it when against Philly. Or you've seen it because you see against Philly. It don't matter. They're relentless. And that's what it takes. Who is that? That's when I like you. When I got to get my program. Who the heck is that? Not the guy we all know. Oh, the guy on the commercial. Oh, that's the number 1 pick out of Alabama. We know that. Surprise me. Who did you coach up? Who did you steal from somebody in the draft? Show me the effectiveness of your front office.
Yeah.
You don't excite me because you got a number 1 draft pick to be good. Hell, they were paying him. When you get the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the undrafted. See, that's why I love UFAs. Show me a guy that went out and found somebody. Now, that's the guy I can win with because I can't afford to pay everybody. That's the balance. That's why the Dallas Cowboys, as much as I may kid you about them, very well built. They got talent everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I think you saw a guy step up in those sorts of ways today, like you were talking about. Mikey Sanders still, 2nd-round draft pick, 2 picks today. Jeremy Chin with a game-sealing pick. Dorrance Armstrong coming up with a forced fumble. Quan Martin, a 2nd-round pick with a pick 6. These guys all stepping up, right?
All
I mean, you
dogs.
look at the dudes on that defense.
Quan Martin, all on teams, and when Bill Belichick, when Nick Saban calls an opponent best player in the draft.
Yeah. You better pay attention. And if you paid attention to college football, by the way, this is what Mikey did in college. Big spots, he's coming up with a pick.
Play.
He comes up with the play.
Two-way player. And,
Doc, this is a guy that's playing out of position,
but
too.
he stayed on the board. He stayed. Other people could have taken him. It's just like we passed on, and I'm not saying one guy did it, but our last staff, somebody made a decision to pass on two, not one, but two players that are all pro now in their second years. Two.
Yes.
Not one. Two that are not night. They're all pro. One a corner and one a safety.
And by the way,
you can't make that up.
It's one thing to identify it. Max and I could have made that draft pick for him, and then we would have been right.
You can't make this up.
I could have made that draft pick. We all wanted Christian Gonzalez.
You can't make it up. If I throw in a receiver in New Orleans, you just can't.
Yes.
You can't make this up that you would pass on Pro Bowl type talent to that level, and your guys now not even be on teams or in the league. You can't make this up. It's not that someone doesn't like you. I have no problem with you because you are zero to me. As a matter of fact, I like your talent. Anybody able to con somebody out of that kind of money, you're a pretty gifted dude. I ain't mad at you. I hope you write a book. I'll read it.
So I want to read two things off Twitter before we hit a break real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is, I don't know if you noticed this, there's a viral dance from Kevin Durant when he was with the Golden State Warriors. It's a very unique dance.
Okay.
If you notice and go back and watch, Jahmyr Gibbs' first touchdown hits the dance. And Kevin Durant tweeted out, have a great night, Detroit. with the video of the dance.
Well, KD's DC now.
Oh, big time. He said, have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, it's DC.
The other thing I wanted to read, Washington Commanders tweeted this out. It said, if you're ever sad, just remember the world is 4.5 billion years old, and you somehow managed to exist at the same time as Jaden Daniels.
I like that.
In all of eternity, you could have thrown me at any point in history. I'm with Jaden Daniels, and I wouldn't have it any other way. 800-636-1067. You want to hop in? It's the Burgundy and Gold postgame show.
Nice.
Toby Altizer, Doc Walker, more to come here on the Fan and the Team 980.
Second and long. Goff, some pressure again, lets it fly high. It's intercepted, picked off by Quan Morton. Morton with some blocks, inside the 20, still going. Morton, pick six.
Juan Martin with the pick six. And if you hear there, I think an important part of this, there was some pressure. Didn't expect there to be a lot of pressure tonight from the defense, and they came up with some.
Good point.
They came up with some. And these guys that were showing up, you were talking about dudes needing to show up all over the place, like Dorrance Armstrong and Sanders.
Armstrong, man. He's going to get a canine award. We're waiting to get the tally in from the people that Joe Gibbs had an award, the unsung hero. I think every really good football team has a lot of that. The unsung hero. Every company has that person, whether it's in the janitorial staff, is in who greets you. We all can tell the difference to work in companies about the doorman, the person, and how they greet you if you see them daily. They set the tone of a building, whether you're a bank, an insurance company, whatever. And it's something that it's not something you train. Someone either has it or they don't.
Yeah. They've got a bunch of dudes that have it.
They got it.
They've got it.
They got it. And man, you just I know you can be your own kids. You got to be parent enough to recognize that you're forcing a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
Adjust the curriculum so they can have success. But some things just ain't going to work. But when you get everybody flying in the right direction, it's a beautiful thing. That's what they've mastered here. They have people moving in the right direction, and it's not against anybody's will. They're not forcing anybody to do anything. They want to do it. You can't make me be somewhere at 5 a.m. against my will.
Yeah.
You might get me to do it a few times in a row, but eventually an undisciplined person is going to eventually let you down. A person is going to be late consistently. Is going to be late the moment you need them most until they decide to break their own bad habits and make it important enough to get their manure corrected. You can't do it for them. They have to do it for themselves. Hey, give me a wake-up call. Would I have to give you behind a wake-up call if it was $1 million waiting on you? That's what I asked you.
Yeah.
Would I have to wake your behind up for $1 million? No, I wouldn't. Well, then figure it out, because you're never going to get that million until you learn how to get up on time for things that matter.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
They've got a bunch of self-motivated people.
They do.
100%.
And DQ, when you're head coach, a lot of people think they're too cool to be like DQ. A lot of adults, men, they think, oh, well, I could never. Dan just lets it all. That's who he is. He's off the young folk. He's authentic.
Yeah, very much so.
Keep it real. My generation keeps it real.
Yeah.
Or he's straight up. Whatever era that you got your hip card, DQ. There's nothing fake about it.
Nothing. And they're going to the NFC Championship game in year one. Toby Altizer, Doc Walker, it's the Burgundy and Gold post-game show presented by Rude. Is your cooling system letting you down? Score a touchdown with Rude and experience peak performance. Dominate the season with unmatched cooling power and visit RUUD.com. If it ain't Rude, it ain't right. 800-636-1067. Let's get to these phone lines. Let's get out to Chris in Damascus. Chris, what's going on?
Hey there, fellas. Thanks for being live and local. And Max and Toby and Doc, man, I've been thinking about you all day, brother. You know, you're the flag bearer, and I got Toby. You look at him, because I'm gonna make him smile. This is just for you, Doc. Because I mean, you are, man. You Burgundy and Gold. You keep this torch burning. But this is just for you. I don't know what awards we're giving out or what direction we're going, but somebody went Freddie Freeman on somebody tonight. I'll talk to you later, brother.
Appreciate it, Chris. Let's get out to...
Somebody went Freddie Freeman.
Let's get out to Rebecca in Warrenton. Rebecca.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Rebecca. That's my grandmother's name. One of my favorite names.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I just wanted to say, first of all, I'm a huge Commanders fan / Washington fan. I already bought a ticket out in Las Vegas for them to win the Super Bowl. So
When'd you
I'm
buy
going to
it?
get like $1,500 if that happens.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. But I just wanted to talk about culture.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about the Commanders is that they're a team. And when we watched them tonight just win, it's because the whole team played. It wasn't one person. It wasn't, there were some incredible plays. But it was the whole team that showed up. And that is really cool. And it's something that, like, I'm the CEO of a large organization. And one of the things I always say to people is we all have different jobs. We don't have more important jobs. And I think that that's what the Commanders have.
Yeah.
They all have different jobs, but they all work together, and they do so well. And this team this year is incredible. And the last time they were this good, I was like 9 years old. So I don't super remember it, but wow.
It's been a while.
This is awesome.
It is.
This is awesome. And, I'm already like looking for Super Bowl tickets. I'm sure all those Lions fans are going to sell their tickets. So maybe they'll be less than $5,000.
Rebecca, appreciate the phone call.
Thanks, Rebecca.
This is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good deal.
Yeah, I think she brings up a good point. They're all working towards a common goal. They're all different, but there's not one person that's more important than the rest in terms of how they treat one another on the team.
Yeah.
But I think we got a local celebrity that we can go to right now.
Another one?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we've got the one, the only Chris Russell, the Rooster, on the line.
Oh, he's getting paid. Yeah, I don't know. This is a paid ad.
Rooster. Well, one, I'm glad you made it to Detroit. I'm glad you're there at Ford Field.
Don't fall for this, man. There was nowhere in hell he was not going to be there. This
DOC,
Chris,
barely,
you know I love you, man.
As you probably know, I barely made it on the air this afternoon, right?
Chris,
There was some
yeah,
logistics.
but that was a financial deal where people were trying to skirt through and not pay the fee.
Hey, listen, this is the best 21 hours I've spent in a really long time without sleeping because I've been going since 3 o'clock this morning.
You're a machine.
And I am... guys, sitting high above Ford Field now. Doc, you and I have been to this building a couple of times, and there have been some really, really ugly losses. I remember back in 2009 and 2010.
When they broke their streak?
Oh, yeah. In
God,
2010,
we owed them.
with Donovan McNabb getting benched and whatever. I mean, for this team to be in the NFC Championship game, to win by 14, to do it the way they did it, to rack up nearly 500 yards, 481 specifically, 182 on the ground, for the natural run game to come back, which is what I've been aching for and begging for and yelling about, to see Jaden play as good as he did, of course, to see the defense come away with 5 turnovers. I mean, unbelievable. And, as you can imagine, the guys were real happy in the locker room. But, Doc, I think you'll be proud of this. There was no hooting and hollering when we were in there. It was a very calm, methodical, hey, man, we expected. Now, there was a lot of hooting and hollering before we got in there, as you would expect, and that's totally fine. But this team remains like, if Jaden is cool as a cucumber and poised and mature and all that stuff, there are a lot of dudes on this team that are very much the same way.
Yeah, what was the vibe like in terms of in the stadium? Because this was something that was talked about all week, and how Ford Field would affect Washington's offense. And really, it didn't seem like outside of maybe one miscommunication on that 4th down where B-Rob didn't seem to understand that it was going to get pitched or whatnot.
Yep.
I thought they handled it really well. How was the atmosphere, and how did it change as the game went on?
And there was a false start, too, and I thought Biotish had a couple of weird-looking snaps early on, but everything seemed to settle after that. And I'll raise my right hand, my left hand, I'll put my left leg in. I was wrong. The noise was, guys, the place is electric, but when you start racking up the amount of points that they did, and especially after they answered, think about this, right? The Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown gets them on a 91-yard drive that should not have happened. It was not a face mask on Dante Fowler. I've watched the replay 12 times. I talked to Dante himself. He knows it didn't happen. Bobby Wagner was screaming and crying, screaming at the official, that it should not have happened. And that made it 31-28, right? And then for this team to answer right after that with another B-Rob touchdown on another long drive, a 70-yard, 15-play drive. You talk about breaking the back, the spirit, the will, the everything, and that shut everybody up. And then everybody starts leaving for the exits because that puts you up by 10, still with plenty of time left for that offense. But for whatever reason, it just never felt right completely and consistently for Jared Goff and this Detroit Lion offense. We know the trick play and the Jameson Williams touchdown and the early touchdown on the nice drive that they put together to come up, go up 7-0. I'm not saying it never felt right, but it just felt out of sorts, out of sync. And that's probably because of the turnovers. But also, think about this. Washington from the very jump, guys, got a 3-and-out, and they were kicking ass and taking names, and they were flying around. And don't discount that. Even though they won by 14, I still think that first series kind of set a little bit of the tone.
Cosme, injury update, any news?
Did not see him, Doc. No, he was ruled out, obviously. Looked awful. I did not get to go to Dan Quinn's press conference because we were roaming the locker room and trying to talk to Josh Harris and all of these people. So I did not get any word on that. Listen, it did not look good.
Your boy Trent Scott came in. He was a gladiator.
Yeah. Trent Scott played well, and that's your guy. I give you a lot of credit for that, Doc.
I know.
Because,
I was wondering if you went up and gave him a high five.
Poo-pooed Trent Scott, and you were right.
Yeah.
Hey, Mikey Sanders still came up big.
Yep.
There were other defenders that came up big. It was I wouldn't say that they stopped Detroit because they were still able to move the ball quite easily at times, but they also took advantage of the opportunities, which I thought was going to be huge when Jared Goff gives you a chance, take advantage. And Jared Goff gave them chances today, and they took advantage.
Gave them chances, no doubt about it. I mean, listen, obviously the interceptions are going to be the big one, and Mikey Sanders still with the two. The first one, to me, was really impressive in the end zone, kind of like not a one-handed catch, but just, kind of tracking the ball, doing a really good job, squeezing it, what have you. Quan Martin's was an overthrow, a terrible overthrow. Maybe they should have gotten a penalty on Frankie Louvu on the return there inside the 5-yard line, and maybe they wouldn't have scored.
No.
I don't know.
Come on, Roos, that's football.
I thought so too, but Mike Pereira seems to think it was a penalty, and a lot of people that I heard from said, cheap penalty, whatever. The bottom line is they didn't call it, and I thought it was okay, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong, Toby. I don't know. But the bottom line is what did they have? 4 interceptions. Obviously, Dorrance Armstrong with the sack, forced fumble for the 5th turnover. Dorrance Armstrong had a 2nd sack for an 11-yard loss late in the game when the game was kind of getting out of hand. This team, again, they only sacked Jared Goff and the Lions and I guess Teddy Bridgewater for a little bit 2 times, both from Dorrance Armstrong, right? If you think about it, Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and, didn't really stand out. Dante Fowler, I thought, did. But this defense made enough plays without getting everything from Bobby Wagner like they did last week, without getting a ton from Frankie Louvu like they did throughout the season and last week. Everybody stepped up and made a big play, it seemed, and they were able to kind of just keep punching. And I'm telling you guys, you could just see kind of the will of this crowd and the spirit of the Lions, even though they still made some plays, kind of go out the window. And when Ben Johnson, calls that trick, that second, or I guess it was the second trick play, right, after the first Jameson Williams trick play touchdown, when he calls the second one and it winds up in an interception, it almost seemed like, like let out all the air.
Real quick, Roos, we got to hit a break here in just a second, but you got to talk to Josh Harris. What was his vibe after the big win?
Oh, man, I mean, as you can imagine, it's right outside the locker room, and he's happier than a pig in poop is the best way I could say it. I mean, he of course deflects and gives credit to Adam Peters and Dan Quinn and the players. He said that over and over again, but you could see, and Ben Standig and I, both had that opportunity. It was just us and Josh and Josh's family, and you could, check it out. I don't know if you guys are going to play it or not, but at WrestleMania 621, I posted it. So it's just about 2.5 minutes, whatever it is. And you could just see how much this meant to a kid who grew up a Redskins fan going to RFK. As we all know, the fan was able to buy the team, was able to invest, was able to bring the right people here. Everything pretty much has turned to gold. And you know what? I get the sense that, while he's satisfied, he believes this team, and I think everyone downstairs believes this team's got a lot more left in the tank.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. We certainly hope so.
Yeah, was Standig, did he have to sign a lot of autographs?
Standig?
Yeah, Standig.
No. I mean, people asked for his autograph, but he said he didn't have the time, that he had to get back upstairs.
Yeah, he's kind of a big thing.
Yeah,
in
well,
Detroit.
Rooster's a big
well,
thing,
Rooster's
too.
a international celebrity. So,
Hey, Roos,
right, exactly.
What's your, I mean, this is a big deal on both of our stations the last few days. What's your travel plans to get back?
Flight scheduled for 9:30 tomorrow night out of Detroit. 9:30 tomorrow night.
Well, good
Here's
luck with the
hoping
snow.
that your boy can get back somewhere close to home so
Come
that
on,
I can do
man.
the show on Monday
All
at
the
1.
people in Detroit coming back here, people were begging you to ride with them, but you wouldn't do it.
Doc, if you want to send me your personal private jet,
I'll call
I will,
Sheehan. Let me call
I will be
Sheehan.
I will gladly hop on it.
All right,
okay?
good deal.
Well,
Thank you,
Rooster,
boys.
well, hopefully we
Thanks,
get you
Roos.
back for your show to start at 1 o'clock.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Notice how I said 1 o'clock
Yes.
on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, love you both.
All right, you got it, brother.
Have a good night.
That's the Rooster out at Ford Field.
He
Appreciate
did a hell of
him
a
for
job
joining us.
today because they had some technical issues.
Did a great job.
People, the bank robbers up there tried to rob him to get him to pay more money for a line so they could connect. Then they had the band. Everybody's rehearsing. When you do pregame shows from the stadium,
Anything
the
can
stadium
happen.
has no regard for you.
No, anything
And
can
it's
happen.
not like you can close a window and get sound. And he was trying to he did the best he could. There's nothing you can do. Everybody's got to rehearse.
Credit to the Roost. Like he said, he's been up since 3 a.m. our time here.
But here's
so
what he does.
He's working on almost.
He does the little things to give the listener, to make it authentic.
Yeah, credit to Roost.
So this is real. People in the background. He could have been in the bedroom, in a hotel room doing it. Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get to your phone calls, 800-636-1067. It's the Burgundy and Gold postgame show. Toby Altizer with Doc Walker.
Yeah, man. B. Mitch said they were so far out. They were like 40 miles from Detroit. They had them in Troy or somewhere. And you had to have a special security thing to get in the hotel. They isolated them. They didn't want no outsiders in the hotel. They're booby trapping all this shit. They don't want no scandals or shit to break out.
Why not Washington? Let's roll. They tweeted after the game, why not us?
Yeah, that's great. It's so much fun, the XCast, just during the game. And, people they're into it. And I can focus and not have to fuck with people wherever I'm at publicly. But it's not as much fun. I'd rather be home so I can really focus and get with them. And they respond. And it's far better than this YouTube thing they've got going that I don't understand, because we don't interact with the people. It'd be different if we were taking questions from them or doing something, but I'm with a guy at the Crystal City pub. He's a former client, so I've been doing business for 24 years. And it's a great place. He's got a great sports bar. He's got 100-foot screen. I'm watching the game.
Pearl from the side, get it up in McLaurin. Gets through, Terry McLaurin, the race, McLaurin is going to win! Touchdown, Washington!
Scary.
Scary Terry, man. I was told he
What a
wasn't a
nickname.
number one. I was told he's not,
But
he's
told
not
by
elite.
whom? By whom?
I've been told by plenty of people, and I told all those people that they were wrong, and you saw it this year. Second team All-Pro. They said, just get him a quarterback. They got him a quarterback. Look at him. Look at him. Big time in a big game. You're listening to the Burgundy and Gold postgame show. Washington is going to the NFC Championship for the first time since the 1991 season. Let that set in for a little bit. 800-636-1067. You want to hop in on the MGM National Harbor listener lines? Let's get to Dave in Ashburn. Dave, what's going on?
Hello. It's so good to talk to you guys.
Good to talk to you,
My
Dave,
man.
especially after a win.
Especially after a win and especially talking to Mr. Doc Walker. I have so much respect for you, Doc.
Well, thank you, man. We just got a shout out from Big Tony, Steeler Nation, congratulating us, and appreciate that because the Steelers have such a standard that we all respect. And I just hope we can be as good as long as they've been good.
So I'm Zinzworld in the chat right now, and I'll be here as long as you guys are online.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you a message, Doc, this week on Instagram. This team to me right now is like the 82 Skins, and I would encourage every fan out there right now to go look up NFL Classics videos of what the 82 Redskins were and what we became. We were that team of people that just, they were like, oh, who are these guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know who we are? We are Super Bowl champion caliber people. We are the 5 o'clock club. We are the posse. We are the Hogs. This is the start of a new dynasty. And all it took was getting rid of the curse of the bad karma of a guy like Dan and getting rid of him. And now we've got the community back. This is like, I cannot describe what it's like walking around with my burgundy and gold gear on. Whether you call us the Redskins, whether you call us the Commanders, there is a unity. We are united again with the burgundy and gold. And I want to send a huge thank you to Sanderstill, my defensive rookie of the year. I've been watching him all year, and seeing Sanderstill progress and then seeing his game tonight, I love our offense. JD5, we can't say enough about him. He's the future. But Sanderstill tonight, there are so many times when I doubted that beginning, and then our defense, they stepped up, and they stepped up. And they stepped up time and time again tonight. And that was the matchup that we were worried about this whole week was how is our defense going to step up to Goff? Well, you know what? Luvu hit him with a clean hit, despite what the referees said, or despite what the announcers wanted to say coming back after the break. They wanted to say, oh, no, that was a clean hit. He became He became an active player. He wasn't a quarterback at that point.
Exactly
he was an active player.
Yeah.
Yes. And they wanted to say that. And that was right before the drive where they called the BS face mask penalty, which actually was a jersey grab by our guy, but it was actually a face mask push or face mask grab by their guy, and they wanted to keep that drive going. But you know what? We are the Washington. We are united. I don't know how much to say other than people need to look up that 82 team.
Sure.
We are the team that started a dynasty, and I can see the future for at least 10 years. We have developed a culture again. We have a culture in this team again. I can't even describe it.
Hey, Dave, we got to run, man. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
phone call.
Thank you for taking my call. Thank you for taking my call.
Appreciate it. We'll get to all of your phone calls in the final hour next. 800-636-1067 if you want to hop in. You're listening to the Burgundy and Gold postgame show. Toby Altizer with Doc Walker on 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980.
because they've done this to teams all season long. Here's Goff. Pressure. Steps away beautifully. Firing for the end zone. Oh, it's intercepted in the end zone. Picked off by Saberstill, who's now looking to take it out. And Saberstill is going to go down. The third turnover of the first half for Detroit.
The Commanders are on their way to the NFC Championship game for the first time since the 1991 season with a 45-31 win over the Detroit Lions tonight in Detroit, taking out the number 1 seed. Jaden Daniels becoming just the second rookie quarterback to take down a number 1 seed in the playoffs, joining Joe Flacco as the only ones to ever do that. You're listening to the Burgundy and Gold postgame show. Toby Altizer and Doc Walker. We're brought to you by Rude. Is your cooling system letting you down? Score a touchdown with Rude and experience peak performance. Dominate the season with unmatched cooling power and visit RUUD.com. If it ain't Rude, it ain't right. Real quick, we'll get back to the phone calls in just a second here, Doc. We were talking in the break about scouting and different things and how you get these guys. And I think back to when we were discussing who this team was going to draft at number 2 overall.
Mm-hmm.
There was a throw tonight that I didn't know Jaden had in his bag. I didn't know he had it.
Which one?
The Diami throw when Diami's coming across the field.
Mm-hmm.
There's pressure in his face.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really stepping into it, and he just lets that thing rip. He threw it so well that Diami has the dude put his hand right over his eyes. Diami couldn't drop it because it was so perfectly thrown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's an artist, and I wasn't short on words when I said I watched his big brother play earlier. You don't throw references like that with Derek Jeter if I'm comparing shortstops. I would never do that.
Yeah.
It's not fair to the other guy. But I'm telling you, there aren't a lot of people that can do what these dudes are doing. And it's amazing to see a guy who for 7 years has flat out just dominated a conference and a league. And now you're looking at this other guy, and I'm thinking, because I watched them back to back, I'm watching the older guy do this, and it looks like he's trapped. He runs out, and he stumbles, and the ball goes. But I even know where I go. It's going to Kelsey. And bingo, there's Kelsey. And then with how often he hits Terry, how can the primary guy get so many balls thrown to him? Now, these other guys that are coming up big, that's phenomenal. But I don't expect them. They're covered by the second corner or the nickel guy. How in the heck is scary getting these plays, a one being covered by their number 1? You can't make this up. And, well, what happened? They don't have a really good offensive line. Really? So
they played well tonight.
So what about the Chiefs? And the Chiefs were, Texans, they're a problem.
Well, and I thought it was cool because you talk about getting to see Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
Getting to see how he played, and it's always special watching 15.
7 years ahead.
Always special.
Yeah, 7.
But you also got to see the guy that, remember before the season, people were saying, maybe Washington becomes the Houston Texans of last year.
Yeah.
Where they draft the quarterback at number 2 overall. That quarterback has one of the best seasons by a rookie quarterback ever. Remember, going into the season, we're talking about Jaden. We're saying, well, can he have a C.J. Stroud-like season? Can he have a C.J. Stroud-like effect?
Yeah.
And we're saying that might be a little bit lofty to throw on him. And not only has he had a C.J. Stroud-like season, he exceeded it. They're going to the NFC Championship game. Here's that play that we were talking about a little earlier. Jaden Daniels finds Diami Brown deep down the field. Here's the call by Kevin Burkhardt.
Second down, they blitz again. Daniels, though, has some time. Lets it rip, floating it deep down the field, going for Brown. He's got it! A perfect throw to Diami Brown! Wow!
I mean, you know it's a perfect throw, Doc, when the DB gets his hand literally in his eyes, and Diami Brown just put his hands out, and it landed right in there.
I'm going to be interesting. It won't happen tonight, but I'll do it tomorrow. I want to hear what the GOAT had to say about JD5, because we mentioned Baby Goat in Kansas City playing today, and JD5 with the GOAT calling the game. I just can't wait to hear what he thought about these throws, because he's looking at it from a perspective that he knows it.
Well, there were some plays. We'll get to your phones in just a second.
Okay.
There were some plays, the one where he was unblocked, it almost sounded like Brady's like, how does this guy do this? Like, he's like, I can throw. I can do a lot of the stuff he's doing mentally.
Oh, he's a wizard.
This dude's unblocked off the edge, and Jaden's like, I'll just outrun you. And it sounded like Brady was like, what in the world? How do you do that?
He didn't panic.
It does not panic.
When Elway would get away, John looked like he was really laboring to get it, and John was a freak.
Yes.
I keep remembering all the freaks and how they did it. You know, I'm a little long in the tooth, so I go back to Fran Tarkin and scrambling. Fran getting away. Roger Staubach was a beast. Arch Manning. I mean, guys that had wheels and they created space.
I truly think there's only a couple of guys that have run like Jaden. One's playing up in Baltimore. Randall Cunningham.
Oh, Randall.
Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Those sorts of guys. That's it. You know, it's a very select group.
I saw his highlights because Mike's, being up for the Hall of Fame. And I got a chance to cover him while he's at Tech. And when I say that I mean that. I got the opportunity to have seen him in college. They played up in West Virginia. So some of these games, I can never forget them because the venue, the energy. West Virginia is a phenomenal place.
Yeah.
They get it. Football's special. And the Hokies, home game at the Hokies, as you well know, you work with the organization, is special.
Big time.
Sandman, I get chills every time I think about it. And I was doing games when they were going through construction. You really learn a place when it's broken down and see it rebuilt and going through construction. I hated it. But you learn so much from it about the university and things. Mike Vick, when you see people do things that you've never seen done before, it's amazing. And that's what I feel. Not to put that much on JD5. You don't want to put that kind of pressure.
But the thing is, Doc, you could. And it's still not going to phase him.
I've never seen anybody, now this is out of all the guys I've seen. When I say terrific athletes playing quarterback, Vince Young.
Yeah.
Well, Vince Evans, for me, going all the way back to USC.
I mean, even RG3.
And Bob. Once again, Bob will be on social media talking about JD5. He won't miss this opportunity. But Bob had sheer power in his sprinting. If you left him a gap, it's over. He was a sprinter with power, and he had a gun. I remember watching Bob throw at Baylor. I didn't know who he was. I'm going, dude, I'm telling my boy, Dynamite Stay. I say, man, I just saw a dude hit a guy like 60 yards away with a flick of his wrist at Baylor. Who is it? And that's what I learned about Bob Griffin.
Yeah, well, and the thing, too, is what I think is so special about Jaden is he's a quarterback that can run. He's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback that can run.
Doesn't really want to. But doesn't have to.
And here's what's special. He broke Robert's rookie record for rushing for a quarterback.
I know it, and he didn't even try.
He didn't even try.
It wasn't even like that wasn't his goal.
No.
It was like Mike Vick was running.
Before the season, this is what I said, and I didn't truly feel like this until you got to the Philly game, the second Philly game that they won. I felt like they could win in whatever iteration of the offense they wanted to call.
I agree.
You want to call the RPO? Feel free. He'll do well. You want to call the read option? Feel free. He'll do well. You want to call the Peyton Manning drop back pass game?
He can do it.
Not saying that he's going to be stuck in the pocket. He'll still be able to move. But if you wanted to just say drop back and read 1 to 2 to 3 to 4,
he can do it.
He can do it. And there's not many quarterbacks that can run like he can that can do that.
With a gun.
800-636-1067 if you want to hop in. Let's get out to Kendall in Fairfax. Kendall, what's going on?
Kendall.
Hey, y'all. So I just wanted to say two things. So first of all, you talked about hard hits. I just want to give a shout-out to the D.C. Eagles, the Australian Football League. We take hits, no pads, straight up. You
no pads.
And you get right back up again, men and women. It's,
right there.
It's fire.
Wow.
You got to get down to West Potomac Park. But let me say something. Number two, so I'm born and raised here. I got a seat from the RFK back in the day, tore it out of the dang stadium. Like, the heart is coming back to the city. And I just want to echo what Dan and Rebecca were saying, you know, front office, square peg, round hole. We finally got rid of that communist regime, 24 years. I had a sign with my sister 20 years ago. We were on PTI. Kornheiser wrote us up in the Post, and he said, we had a sign that said, Trade Snyder. Trade Snyder.
I remember that. I remember that.
And it's coming back, y'all. It's coming back. And when the Caps were winning, when we won the baseball, when the Mystics won, in 18, we were just like, oh, the Redskins, they're just trash, because we got freaking Snyder, who's never played a sport in his life, and he's got Napoleon complex. We finally got it back, and I'm just so grateful, and I'm starting to believe again, y'all. I'm just really happy. I'm happy, and the fact, I don't know, y'all do this for a living, but to go 28th in the freaking league to top 4, when the hell else has that happened?
Not very often. Not
no,
very
sir.
often.
No,
Kendall,
sir, it has not.
appreciate the phone call.
Appreciate
Thanks,
y'all.
Kendall.
So, wanted to tell you this real quick. Yesterday, Danny and I are out at Uptown Alley in Manassas. And I was filling in for GP, who had the flu, so hopefully he's better and can go to wherever the NFC Championship.
I can't believe GP. That disappointed me.
Yeah, it's sad.
He's in such great shape and he's been training.
Sad. But there was someone that he had it in a case, Doc, right? So he's got the flat bottom with the wood, right, and then the glass case over the top. He brought up to Heavy Metal Chris. He brought up to Danny from some grass, some turf from RFK Stadium.
Oh, that was real.
From the goal line. And he said, here, touch it for some good luck. I don't know if that's the reason they won or not, but hey, man, wherever G&D are on Friday, bring that thing out there again and let's see if that works.
Yeah, that man need to be. Did Metal did touch it?
Yeah. Metal and Danny touched it, and they're going to the NFC Championship game. Let's get out to Jennifer in Tampa. Jennifer, what's going on?
Jennifer.
Yes, hey, Doc. I want to first mention that I remember you from Redskins Report.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Long
way
time
back
fan.
in the day. Yeah, way back in the day.
Well, that's why I wanted to call in. I just want to say that George Michael and Jim Vance are both smiling their butts off right now and proud as heck of this team and that we finally have an organization again.
Amen.
Jennifer,
amen, my brother.
Amen. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate that.
Let's get out to DJ in Queens. DJ, what's up?
Hey, Doc and Toby. I really appreciate you guys taking my call.
Thank you.
Yeah, the one thing I did want to highlight, and I think it's, obviously I've been a Redskins fan Commanders fan now for a very long time, since the early 80s. I live in New York. It's been a really difficult time throughout the years carrying that over. So very excited for the win. I think that one of the things to highlight from these games is the pre-snap reads that Jaden Daniels has. When you look at these quarterbacks, and I looked at Caleb this year and even C.J. Stroud today, the kid just has the ability. And I think that no huddle, where they kind of collectively get together, go back to the huddle, and they don't snap it right away, gives me the ability to look at that defense and judge where he's going to throw it. I think that's so insurmountable, and it's amazing to see. And the other thing I did want to point out is even seeing the progress of the Quan Martins and the De'Ami Browns, the guys that we've had on the roster that get an opportunity to kind of showcase themselves. I think of 91 when we had a guy like Keenan McCardle on the team who, really didn't play a lot, played in the practice squad, then moves over to Cleveland and then gets an opportunity. Maybe a guy like De'Ami Brown, given him the opportunity to be on the, work with the team and getting those opportunities is a really huge advantage. And I really hope they capitalize on it. But again, with this whole team, it's really great to see.
DJ, appreciate
Thanks,
it.
DJ.
And Doc, you can speak to this better than I can. When you go on a special run, you need guys to step up that you don't expect. You need guys that step up and play bigger roles than you would have expected throughout the regular season. They maybe didn't. Timmy Smith, right? And what he was able to do in that postseason in Super Bowl.
Breaks the defense down.
Right?
Can't defend what you don't know about.
De'Ami Brown went for 300 yards on the season.
He's
went for $187 in 2 games in the postseason.
And the best is yet to come. He's a killer.
He's been awesome.
Yeah. And Crowder? Z, they're loaded. They're just, and then we've got Bates and Cynic. They're just in the wings.
Yeah.
There's more of them coming. And we haven't got to McCaffrey. Really, the next class, they're just lined up. They're like drones. And they're going to be coming and coming. And they'll add to it. No, it's frightening. And it, for me, starts the Fab Five. And, I'm salivating. I can't wait to watch the game. I'm dying to see how the offensive line did it, how they gel. That was the Lions they just tamed.
Yeah. And an aggressive defense.
Yeah. Following the Buccaneers, who are legit. Baker Mayfield, Mike Wood, they're legit.
By the way, back-to-back weeks where you have a rookie quarterback, and don't let people say, oh, he's still a rookie.
Yeah.
Give him his due share because he's still a rookie.
Sure.
You're playing in the playoffs, the
What are you
biggest
paying
games
him?
of your life.
You're paying him like a rookie. That's what he is.
And you got defenses that aren't going to sit back and say, hey, they're coming at your throat. They are blitzing you to heck.
I'll be trying to sign him tomorrow. I'm Josh.
Yeah.
In that group, I'm saying, yo.
How much you want?
JD5. Let's just handle this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least get you up for 5 years. Let's tighten this up.
Well, you want that Mahomes contract for life? Go ahead.
Let's do it now.
Get out to Mike in Burke. Mike, what's going on?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you guys doing?
Oh, can't complain,
Too
man.
good to be considered legal.
Oh, I know. Hey, Doc, and Toby, thanks for taking my call. And I'll tell you what, I would just like to thank the ownership, the whole team, because they played like a team, and they won that team game by playing as an offense, defense, and of course, Jaden, I mean, you can't say enough about him, but the whole team, and that's what they needed to do to win, to be a team and play together and play smash-em football, and God bless them. And, Doc, thank you. I got to watch 3 Super Bowls. I never thought it would happen, and God bless the ownership, and it all started there, and everything's been perfect since. So I think we got a lot more years in us, and God bless us all.
Appreciate it,
Hey,
Mike.
man, I'm like Ernie Banks. Let's play 2.
Doc, I've never gotten to see a Super Bowl with my team in it. They're 60 minutes away. I've never gotten to see an NFC Championship game with my team.
Well, I'll say this. The worst loss to me in all of sports is the championship game. Never lost one. Lost the Super Bowl. But if you lose a championship game, you don't get the experience, which is the craziest thing that you can imagine, because most of us male losers have had Super Bowl parties.
Yeah.
Or been at Super Bowl parties. And once you've been to one Super Bowl party, you can never get it out of your head that now people are sitting there watching you in this game that you went and did. I think Super Bowl parties are all kind of related to nacho dips. I can't think of a Super Bowl party without nachos.
Yep.
And brewskis. And you're sitting there, and I was thinking about one of the best ones we ever had back in college, because those are usually your best 2 or 3 or 4 years of Super Bowl parties, or when you're in college. And then you can't, to think that now people are sitting there with the cheapest beer they can get in volume and pizza and wings and all the Super Bowl type foods for people that are on limited budgets, and they're screaming and hollering over this game. Little do you realize what the people in the actual cities that you'll be representing that you don't know anything about. You just think people non-partial or wagering. And then another level, Rooster and I were in Detroit covering the Super Bowl, but we were leaving. He may have stayed. I left to go to Vegas because I'd never been to Vegas for a Super Bowl. I wanted to know what it was like to be in a casino because I heard about it. It's just different because people are wagering on everything, screaming and hollering after every play because first down, who scores first, who touches it first. And I left Detroit before the Steelers and Seahawks because I wanted to experience that. So all these things go through your mind, and then you're in it. And then none of that you're thinking about. You're not thinking about any of that because you got a dude trying to kill you right over the line before you. And I keep saying this on the air, and this is what DQ's done a great job of, and all their guys. It's not fear of the opponent. It's fear of letting your buddy down next to you. You want John to score. You want Joe to catch the ball. You want Art. You want your buddies to succeed. You don't want to be the guy. Oh, you left the lug nut off the plane, and that's why the door flew off on flight 771. That's the whole thing. It's accountability.
Yeah.
For your teammates. That's what DQ has galvanized. So they're not playing for themselves to break a record. They're looking at JD5 like they want him to do it. We got a chance to get him a rookie of the year because everybody assumed that Caleb would get it. No, not so fast. Now they want to get him a super. So it becomes when you're doing something for a teammate, it's the best kind of gifts. You're just giving. And then when the guy's not a jerk, that's the other thing. What is there to dislike about this dude?
Nothing. All he cares about is ball. It's nothing about himself.
Biggest smile I've seen on his face was when Marcus Mariota scored.
It's true.
I've not seen this dude show that level of excitement to that level yet. So I said, wait a minute. Is this dude bionic? So he loses his mind when you do something well. When he throws a Hail Mary and the whole city erupts, he just smiles. He doesn't have an enemy on a defensive line in the league.
And the other thing, too, you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong here, Max or Ben or Doc. You ever seen him beat his own chest?
No.
It's always pumping up the crowd, pointing at somebody else, hugging. Never once is it this. Never.
Well, he did drop an I'm like that after the Hail Mary, but, like, who wouldn't?
I mean, but he's letting them know.
You know,
he should, as he should.
But it's never about just him.
No, it's not, and it's like
it's special.
Then he's with moms, so he's a good son. It's almost like I'm going, come on, dude, really? But yeah, but it all starts by being the first guy in the building.
Yeah.
So I mean, how many of us thought, okay, this will die off after camp? Nice start. Appreciate you getting the set and the tone. Still doing it. It's a habit.
Well, and how many people thought, okay, he can do this for a little bit. He can run like this for a little bit. He's
still
not
doing it.
They're going to figure it out eventually. They're going to, by the way, Doc, it's the playoffs. If you're not figuring out now, they're not figuring you out. You're just that dude.
Went through.
You're just that dude.
So we're figuring this thing out now, okay? He went through Tampa. Wait a minute. Todd Bowles is kind of like a blitz. He's a genius.
Yeah.
Beat it. I've just been listening about Glenn, he's done a remarkable job getting people up to speed. Many think he's the most impressive coordinator they've seen based on how he's overcome adversity. He ripped him a new
45.
He ripped him a rectum.
He did.
So I'm thinking, so it's just natural to think this now. He couldn't possibly do this to Philadelphia or the Rams. So you're thinking, wait a minute, he's already beaten.
Hey, Doc, maybe it's the Super Bowl that'll rattle him. Maybe it is. Let's just get him there and see.
I'm with you, but you see what I'm saying? And I refuse to react like you know who. I'm going to lowball this thing as much as possible because I'm saying to myself, they haven't done any hocus pocus.
No.
And by the fact that they finally just ran off tackle. And B-Rob was a different dude. Now, if they test his blood and they find out he had an illegal substance in it, them supercharge him, then it'll make sense. You know, if they were to tell me tomorrow, after further review, we just took urine analysis and 42 guys on the team, had some – okay, all right, okay. So that explains it. These dudes played like they're hyped up, man.
Big time. We're woefully late for a break.
Okay.
So let's hit a break
All
here.
right, let's do that.
You're listening to Burgundy and Gold Postgame Show. Toby Altizer and Doc Walker, 106.7 The Fan, the Team 980.
Last one's this. Ball is life, man. Plus 5 tonight. Talked about being heavy hitters, and you're for damn sure some heavy hitters now. From the first day we got together, it's on our wall. Anybody, anywhere, anybody. All right, good luck, you guys. Let's find out where it is tomorrow. Take our show back on the road. Yes, sir.
That's the winning locker room. It's headed to the NFC Championship next week as the Commanders beat the Lions tonight, 45-31. Doc, in 2 playoff games now, they have won the turnover battle 6-0. They have not turned the ball over in the postseason. They got 5 of them tonight. Big difference in the win.
Well, it's called winning football. And we used to call it playoff football. You have to get it. Is my old partner, broadcast partner, Tank Johnson, called it RBAC time. It's winning.
Yeah.
And in close circumstances, because the playoffs, everything shrinks down. Everything's condensed, and but it's everything you've trained for. And it's the big bad Lions. And I go by, Brian Mitchell. B. Mitch told me this morning how he was heckled going through the airport, going in by Detroit fans. And rightfully so. These people have the right. They felt good about their team.
I'm sure they feel good right now.
Yeah, well, they feel like they did a year ago. They feel like they're close. And they are close.
They are.
They have nothing to be embarrassed about. They just ran up against
an unstoppable force right now.
Bad man. And that's it. Hey, man, it's the way it goes. And they're good now, and Detroit will be awesome next year. And that's the beauty about this. You think Baltimore hadn't had a tough year? If I were smart enough to wager, I would have pushed all my chips in on the Ravens last year at home. And I'd be at a community center right now because I'd have no property. So that's what I'm saying. Who thought the Ravens wouldn't win in Baltimore?
Mm-hmm.
I did. They thought they were unbeatable. And Monken and 8, and I went against the Chiefs. That's the immovable force now. Well, Spagnuolo, who is the most underrated professional employee in pro football.
But
he's winning with youth on defense.
This is where I think it's hard for Detroit today.
Mm-hmm.
Is last year, you talk about Baltimore, they got away from their identity, right? They got away from themselves. That's why they lost that football game. Last year with Detroit, they were a little bit too much into their identity, right? Some of the craziness that Dan Campbell goes.
They just dropped the ball. Oh, I was all for Dan.
So, they didn't make
catch
the play.
Ball, they go to the Super Bowl.
They didn't make the play,
That's
right?
Like, they failed. They couldn't catch the ball.
Today, they just got beat. That's got to be tough. Where you feel
punked.
like you're the I mean, this is like when you feel like you're the top dog. You're the heavyweight. You're the heavyweight champ. And the dude comes in there and knocks you out. That's where it's got to be tough if you're Detroit, where you didn't fail in some way. This isn't an uncharacteristic golf game by any means. They didn't change up their play calling. They just plain out got beat. Washington went into Detroit and beat them. Just beat them. It's not like Detroit got too cute. You can nitpick some of this stuff. This is what Detroit has been all year. And yet Washington went in there and said, we are better, and went out there and won the football game.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's why it gives you hope that next week, it doesn't matter if you're going to L.A., it doesn't matter if you're going to Philly to face them a third time. Why couldn't Washington do it again and be playing for a Lombardi in a couple of weeks?
Everybody playing now is capable of going to New Orleans.
Yes.
No, everybody in here now, if you get scurred, at this point, that's on you. Nobody's going to punk out now. The only reason you don't max out now is due to injury. If you're healthy, it's game on. And it's O-line, D-line world. I'm telling you, it's an O-line, D-line world. I didn't get an update because I don't know if Payne – because, again, I literally in a crowd, it's hard to say you even see the game. You know, you're feeling the game. You're catching up. You're trying to do all that. But the way I like to watch game, I've got to see and it'll be on again. I'll tonight, 3:30 a.m., it'll come on again. I won't be able to rest until I can thoroughly see why it happened the way it did. Right now, I'm just like, thinking that the dude is just like bewitched. He just
special. 800-636-1067. You want to hop in on the MGM National Harbor listener lines? Let's get out to Rick in Connecticut. Rick, what's going on?
Hey, Rick.
What's up, gentlemen? How are we?
What up?
I'm tired, man. I feel like I played in that game.
Yeah, I don't feel like I played. I don't feel like I saw the whole game. I mean, it's so much, going on.
That
but
first
I'm
half
good
was like a full game.
Yeah, it was exhausting. Yeah.
That's exactly what I said. I had a bunch of people here, and at halftime, I'm like, man, it feels like the game should be over right now, and it's halftime.
Yeah, it is. They play fast. I don't think there was a ton of penalties, which is kind of clean.
Yeah, for the there were a couple missed penalties.
The Zebras, I don't think, didn't take the game over.
No,
I thought
appreciate that. There was a
they
play.
They could have, but they really didn't.
There was a play that we were texting back and forth, some of the guys at work here, and Anzalone comes flying in a little late, hits Jaden. Andrew Wiley pushed him over after the play, and they just let it play. I appreciate that.
I love that.
Just let it go.
I love that, man. I love it. I hate it when they overreact. And usually those things don't happen if you're not in Jerry world.
Yeah.
Because those guys are put under immense pressure.
Rick, what was that watch party like tonight?
It was pretty amazing. I talked to Doc this morning, and we had a nice conversation. I told him my 18-year-old son is named Gibbs, and we watch every game religiously here in Connecticut.
That's right.
And Doc said, we're going to talk tonight and celebrate. And I said, I hung up the phone, and I said, man, that would be a sweet dream, but I don't know about that. We're up against it. And here we are at 1:41 in the morning doing it. And hail to the Commanders.
Hail to the W. We did it.
Rick.
We did it. And we weren't being cocky this morning. There's a
confidence, Doc.
There's a confidence, but the scary part about it, I was really brash if we had a running game. I'll talk a lot of trash if I know we can overpower people. I don't talk a whole bunch of trash. There's too much that can go wrong in the passing game.
Yeah.
You got protection. You got to catch it. You got to get open. There's just so many things that go wrong. But to be this precise, that's why the dude's scaring me. Because of his precision passing. And our guys are catching everything. And Scary, we haven't even given Scary his roses. We're so used to seeing him do this now, we just think it's ordinary.
He's a special player.
Brother's clutch.
He comes up big in
He's
those
clutch.
moments. And it was really good to see everyone seem to step up today. Eckler was huge today with some of the plays he was able to make. He didn't get a ton of touches, but when he got them, he made the most of them.
I mean, you're on with Grant and Danny, and let me tell you something. That interview, every week, he drops nuggets. You learn more about what it's like to be in the NFL through him.
Yeah.
When he's done, he's never going to be done with the NFL.
No,
he's got to be. He's got to be in the business.
He's going to be NFLPA.
Yeah, he's got to be in the curriculum. He's got to be in what it. Not just us sitting here talking about the game. He's got to be making the game better.
Yeah.
He's got to be involved in how we set rules, how we judge things.
He's a special mind.
He's a brilliant asset
to
the game of football. And, boy, can he play.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue to take your phone calls. We just got word. Doc's going to be done at 2. We got to get our window of opportunity in here. I'm going to hang out till 3 again.
I love you for that. You know what? And I love what you do for me because that way, by the time I'm home, I got to listen to you all the way into my garage.
That's the way we want it.
It was so comforting, and that was really cool. I mean, I could gut it out with you, but I think it would take away from you. Why would I want to do that? I mean, it was just so.
Doc,
so
you're free to take over these airwaves whenever you're free.
No. I felt like it was just like you did it for me. I had a personal escort all the way to my garage. I thought, this dude is incredible. He's nothing like, what's the other guy's name? I can't remember.
Well, I'm drinking an energy drink, so we should be good to go to 3 a.m. I'm not as tired as I was last week, so we should be good to go to 3 a.m. So keep calling in 800-636-1067. We'll get to your phone calls, and we'll continue to talk to you guys as long as we need to go tonight. The Commanders, the Washington franchise, they're headed to the NFC Championship for the first time since 1991. How about that? They win tonight 45-31. Burgundy and Gold postgame show with Toby Altizer and Doc Walker continues next here on The Fan and the Team 980.
any of these sets of downs.
Oh, look at this trickery. Jamison Williams has it. Looking to throw it. Go for it downfield. Intercepted! Mikey Sabersill has it. There's a penalty. Hang on a second. Far side of the field.
Ben Johnson went deep into his bag and threw an interception. I love it. Ben Johnson getting the ball to Jamison Williams to throw down the field, and it gets intercepted. And that is our window of opportunity tonight, Doc.
Yeah, the pivotal moment that propelled them to victory, presented by the Window Man. Since 1989, the Window Man has been the educational window company. Get your free, no-pressure in-home estimate or at thewindowman.com's Fairfax showroom.
You were talking about
Congratulations to the Wolverine.
Well, you were talking about it when we're watching that play, Doc. And I said, all right, it'd be nice if they came up with a stop on this possession. At that point, I think, what was it, a 10-point lead?
I think so.
10-point lead, and I said it'd be nice if they came up with a stop, and you said, I'll do you one better. How about a turnover?
Turnover, scoop, score. Yeah, I wasn't comfortable. I still, to this moment, have a great deal of respect for the Lions. And I saw, I think, that 4 or 5 interception game they had earlier. They won it. They have a really good team, no doubt about it. But so do we.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are unknown and have been inconsistent. They've been more consistent and have a lot more popularity and they're known more. We're still climbing. But the body of work is kind of coming together. And when you start stacking up, this is a quality win. You don't beat the Bucks, Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles. That's a quality victory. And we're road warriors.
Yeah.
You're winning these things on the road.
Big
Don't tell me that you're lucky. Don't tell me anything other than I don't care what you think. Really, because you mean nothing to me. Because you're blind.
Yeah.
You can't say anything to me. Nobody gave them anything. They went in there and ripped them off in broad daylight.
Nothing lucky about going into someone's house and winning the ball game.
No,
Nothing
disarmed the fire alarm while they were home. Stolen blind.
800-636-1067. Let's get to Paulie in the 757.
Oh, no.
Got about a minute,
Dude
Paulie.
up.
What's
Dude,
up?
what you doing up?
Hell to the W, baby. Hell to the W. Hey, nobody gave us a chance, man. Shout out to Hibachi Gilbert Arenas. Yeah, he's on this site that uses a dog as a logo. He's the only one that picked us to win. Even Jay Gruden picked us to lose, man. Hell to the W, man. Hey, shout Eckler, Wagner, Ertz, the three wise men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The
Nice
three
call.
wise men.
Nice
man.
call.
Hey, this was a great victory tonight. This was a team victory tonight. Hey, Toby, I feel good for you, brother, that you're getting to experience this feeling.
It's fun,
because
Paulie.
this is what it's all about, man. I lived through these times, and to have this feeling again, to have this magic feeling inside of us again. Pause. And speaking of magic, baby, hey, come on, man. Everything Magic touch turns to gold.
Turns to gold, man.
Burgundy and gold now,
yes,
baby.
Yes, sir. Hey,
Hell
Paulie, we got to run,
W,
man. Appreciate it. Appreciate
Hey,
it.
man, God bless you, Paulie. You know the Roosters are going to be hot.
It's going to be an electric day on Monday.
Yeah.
Doc, it's been fun. I'm going to keep this thing rolling until 3 a.m. We're going to say goodbye to you. Appreciate hanging
All
out.
right, brother.
Doc,
It's
we're going to be
always
back. Beautiful thing is we'll be back next Sunday.
And the Sunday after that. And
Let's keep it
hopefully
rolling.
the Sunday after that.
Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Burgundy and Gold postgame show continues next.